dreaded flag, a vengeful sea. Be careful what you say. There's always someone listening. The Dutchman tossed on the sea. I swore and the devil heard me. Now we're doomed to sail the seven seas for eternity. So yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. The line forever we must tow. We sail through them, cursed and condemned. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. A sinister grin across his face said, you'll be doomed to this place. The devil heard my oath, shame of my boast. Oh, a ghostly ship from the depths, freedom from fear is the only gift of death. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. The line forever we must tow. We sail through them, cursed and condemned. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. If you cast your eyes, you'll join us like those before. We're an omen of the ocean night. When you see the flying Dutchman, it's too late for your soul. To the waters we gave now our grave. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. The line forever we must tow. We sail through them, cursed and condemned. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. Yo-ho, let the ocean winds blow. The line forever we must tow. We sail through them, cursed and condemned. Yo-ho, let the ocean wind blow.
Bite the brings out. In the dark you hear a growl. Monsters in the night, unnatural appetite. A demon sent me here to take you to the afterlife. I feel something change inside of me. The inner human slowly died in me. I feel it come alive. The darkness brings me light. There ain't no stopping it, and you will never hide from me. Pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. This body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time.
Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I am your host, Tosh Bar. Yes, I am at Sam's. I cut in line in front of you, and then I threaten I kill you. Why you no let me cut in line? I come here to make poop on you, and I go in front from Sam's. You mother bitch, go to the other place. Go to Costco to get your gas. I major flex on you. Can't even say it with straight face. Darbush! The Egyptian magician. I do magic act. I come out with whip. I have small mountain cat that I terrorize people. Yeah, you terrorize people with the mountain cat. Yes, my friend. Okay, well, maybe you shouldn't bring the mountain cat into Sam's. In my culture, my country, we bring mountain cat everywhere. We go to picture show, mountain cat. I go to look for a new Hummer, mountain cat. Mountain cat always with me. I cannot do this. Mountain cat. I go to job interview for the Dell. Not particular, I go to him because he is of the from Israel's people. But I say, hey, I may agree to not do bad things here. I will wear a robe. Under robe, naked. I use woman restroom. I identify as she. Really? Yes, my friend. I try to assimilate to sick American way. A demonstration, maybe you choke a few people, stabbing, maybe hot girl, have a good sexy time. We have fun, yes. America, yeah, America. Then maybe I choke you. You don't give me shit, I choke you. And then, boom! I kid. I joking. I love sexy time. Women love great American fun. Yes. Then I cut in the front of Sam. I threaten I kill you. Watch what happened. Strong, chic. I am strong, chic. Major flex. It's horrible. Horrible. These people come here, and I mean, it's horrible. They smoke weed and everything. It's unbelievable. Unreal. What's funny is I see all these people complaining. They're like, they took their jabs, but you're not demonstrating. They're demonstrating and doing all kinds of crap. They're all about it. He bad about it. And people here, they're just like, man, I don't like these people. They have an unsavory look about them. They got things on their heads. They're wearing robes. What's going on here? And then when they walk by, they're like, hey, how you doing? As Tupac would say, come real with it. I make no bones about it. You get in my way, dude. It's like, dude, don't test me, man, for real. I'm not in the mood. I'm not the one. Like, as I drink my juice drink, I'll look up on a dude. I ain't bullshitting. Delicious. Is that Mushu with our food? I told you I'm gonna die. I'm on Snap Kitchen. Why are you bringing quesadillas? My friend Juan, was he there? Did he make the delicious quesadilla? You know what I said to him the other day? I said, Juan, I used my alter ego, my Southern Baptist preacher alter ego, and I went in there and said, hey, Juan, I said, I'm just like you. I know you come from another country. And you don't know a damn thing I'm saying, but bless your heart, which is also an insult. I want you to know that though you don't belong here, I'm not gonna lie, you smell a little like onions and BO, and you've been back there cooking all kinds of delicious quesadillas and things like that we like to eat. Them, what are the other things I like? What's them little skinny ones, the fried ones? Taquitos. What are they again? Taquitos. I love those. Now, I don't really like him touching them. He does put on double gloves. I tell him, and please stand back away from the food. I don't want him breathing his Mexican germs on the food. I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm just being honest. And I said, you know what? We're going to be best friends because I love the way you make that food. That might get you into heaven right there, just making them quesadillas and them taquitos. I say that for sure. If I can't say it for sure. I cannot. You come to my church, I will say this because I don't want to freak people out. I'm gonna put you in the back. I'm gonna put you in the very back. But let's say this, folks. A few little C-note donations, little C-notes. They were a little confused. The first time they came to my church, I said, just drop a little C-note in there. And you know what they did? Silly little mix-up. They gave me a little baggie with white stuff. And I said, I think they thought that was the C-note. I found out that it's called cocaine. Cocaine. The real name is cocaine. They called it cocainina or something like that. And what they do is they make it down there in the, what is that country called?
Catalina?
Columbus.
Oh.
They're down there in Columbus in another world. They call it the third world. Now, I don't believe in none of that because God made one world. One world. He did. I'm telling you, I don't know why why do they believe that there's more than one God? I don't even get that. I don't understand. And then they got this guy. I got a vent. I'm sorry, folks. I got a vent. I don't even want to say his name. It's almost like saying the devil's name. I can't.
It's like Voldemort.
I have to. Let me focus. His name is Josh. His name is. Leaves a bitter metallic battery acid taste in my mouth. Now, how do I know that? I don't. I'm just assuming that's what it would taste like. I've never eaten a battery. Whew. I'm getting hot thinking about this guy. Goodness gracious. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say Josh Turner. Not the country singer, not the good one that sings about the long black train. No, this guy, he's got a show. I can't remember the name of it now. What's it called? Pappin' Tables? Papanema. It's bad. It is so bad, folks. I don't even want to say the name of it. It is about the paranormal, which is basically the talk of witches and demons and Satan. They get on there and they discuss demons and Satan and witches and people who do witches, Satan, and demons. Or something like that. That's what they do. They do this. I was at the casino shooting some dice. I had a hot hand, you know. I was wearing my little mustache. I have to be incognito. I have to be incognito because people judge. They're so judgmental. I'm doing this because I want to raise money for a new church so that the Mexicans don't have to just sit in the back. They can actually sit kind of 2 or 3 rows up and still be able to hear me back there, and they can still drop the money in the play. It's not fair for them. It's not fair that Juan and his 15 kids need to be back and cannot hear me. We need new speakers, folks. I'm telling you right now. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. So I was in there. I was cracking the dice, as they say. You know, I know them. I know the lingo. I played bingo. Believe me, I know what I'm saying. Gringo. Ha ha. You see, I just did a rapper. Told you guys, I did it. Look at this. I'm cultural. Look at this. This is a Native American on my shirt. I am very cultural. I love all the non-white peoples. Even the really the ones that are way not white. I am totally okay with them. I'm not joking. I'm being completely honest. And so I was shooting some dice. I had a hot hand and I was rolling, doing well. And this guy says, "Hey, I recognize you. aren't you the preacher from the Southern Baptist First Church of the Ebenezer around the side of the road behind the snakes pit, blah, blah, blah. I said, yes, we are. Yes, I took my mustache off. I said, ain't no faking the funk now. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, I am here and I am gambling. But you know what really made me mad? Was this girl that was not refilling my rum. I was getting hot. I was getting bothered. I was getting a little aggravated. And when I get a little aggravated, I'm like, hey there, and I reached out and I grabbed her. Not hard. I squeezed her arm and I shook her and I said, look here. And I did say a word. I said some names. I can't recall exactly what I said or did, but people took it out of context and said, local preacher cracking dice in a house of ill repute or something like that. And then they tried to connect it to something that happened a long time ago with me in a massage parlor. And I said, oh, my gosh, that was ages ago. That was like 2 years ago. And they're bringing it up now like it had just happened.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And where did this happen? You said incognito?
Yes, I was in Incognito, and I was.
And where is that about?
Well, because I didn't want people to look at me in a bad way. And let me just take my glasses off so you can see my eyes ain't changing like a lizard's. Yeah, I just want y'all to take a good look at that. My detractors have said some horrible things about me. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm just, we're just, in this skit, we're just waiting for the numbers to roll. Once they get up to that magic 300, well, guess what? We're going to start talking about some stuff. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But back to the skit. What was I saying? Oh, well, what happened? So let me tell you a little something. I distracted these people with the spirit. I said, you know what you're doing? You're attacking a man of God. And when you attack a man of God, bad things happen to you. Two things. God, first of all, he's going to strike you down. That's just going to happen. That's automatic. And then you're going to go to hell. The hell is a very bad place. This Josh Turner fella, now, I was watching his show the other day. I watch it religiously. I say it jokingly. That's a joke. That's religiously. People say, you know what, brother Jack, they say this. They say, you're stalking this man. Why are you watching his show and talking to him? I said, I'm trying to save his soul. And I'm trying to save all the people that he is leading down this dark, dusty road, going to the gates of hell with him, where he talketh about demons and ghosts and wicked witches and things like that. He talks about all this weird, crazy stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it's real easy to sit there and listen to him and go, oh, he's making kind of some sense. And then I snap out of it. I'm like, whoa, why am I? This guy is dangerous. It's like that rock music. You be listening to Guns and Knives. What is that one? With the Take Me to the City, this Paradise, the one where they're smoking the reefer. Oh, and I'll be like,
Biggie Smalls.
Something like that, and they'll be just jamming, and guess what happens? That foot starts tapping, and I start doing this. I start going like, hey, and then I'm like, oh, brother Jack, what are you doing? God forgive me, the devil is all over me. Whew. And I gotta take the hat off, and I gotta go, whoo, I can't be doing this, man. I can't. I gotta stop. Gotta stop. Liberty, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. We need that in our coffers to spread the word of God.
Amen.
So what we do in here now, I go to the prison to spread the word. I do have several friends that are in there too, though. They were ministers at one time, and they got caught up in something. It was a setup. They got caught with a lot of that cocaine. That was a total setup. And so I go in there and I visit them, and then I hand out Bibles. Mostly about the Old Testament. I have it all marked down, what's good, what you can and cannot do, according to that particular part of the Bible. The New Testament kind of, I like Jesus just as much as the next guy. I love him, but let's be honest, he says a lot of things that are just not I looked this word up. I'll say it right. Commensurate to my thinking. It doesn't, I kind of have a problem with some of the things he talks about. He gets really violent. Like, he went in there and he attacked those Jewish people with a whip. To me, that's Hitler stuff. I'm not joking. I'm thinking, is this Jesus or is this Hitler? Because you're going to go in there and attack Jewish people with a whip in their church? No, sir. No, sir. God will pour his wrath down upon thee, and you will know his name is the Lord. And then somebody says, Brother Jack, he is the Lord. I said, you know what? That confused me. That really confused me. All I know is the government gave me a 501c, and I will teacheth thee to do. Now, I know there were some things in my past, but that makes me a better Christian, because those things in my past, I can talk about them. I know there was some ladies of the night that were caught with me, but this was in the daytime when they caught me with these women. They were of the night. They were of the night. I was trying to teach them.
You're trying to bring them to the light.
Exactly, to teach them to not do these things. This is what you don't do. This is bad. And then the popos want to come rolling up on me, as they say in the hip-hop world. I don't listen to hip-hop. That's another thing, too. Somebody was all telling me about that. They were like, trying to tell me about the Declaration of Independence and all this crazy stuff, Second Amendment. I said, I don't listen to hip-hop, sir. I don't know what those bands are. Please stop talking about them. Okay? I'm not into that. I will say this. This man who calls himself Wolf. You know what a wolf is? It's a predator, son. You know what a predator does? It seeks those that it can seek to devour. It's going to get you. What's going to do? It's going to eat you. That's what that predator does, and that's what that guy, he says it point blank on his show all the time. He's like, I'm Wolf. And then he goes on talking about these demons and ghosts. Same thing. They're all demoniacs, what they are. And then he says, well, the other day I couldn't believe it. He's making fun of us preachers. Talking about we work with the government. How dare you? The government recognizes that we're doing God's work. And I do exactly what they want me to do, but with my own, I use my own thinking. I don't do this what they tell me. I do exactly what they want, because they want what's best for you. That's right. But I'm going to tell you something. This guy supports a man. He supports a man. He openly talked on his show about his anger towards a man. I don't know this man. I don't know anything. I have no beef with this man. Cocoa Puffs, Poofy Puffs. What is his name? He did some things, some bad things, some things that anybody could have done. I mean, heck, I went outside and did some of these things myself. I can't even be judging people. He doesn't like this man, and he says because of a man he calls Tupac. Now, I don't know what that pack is, if it's a Pac-Man, a reference to the 80s Atari game, or what is he talking about? But he says that this Tupac is like his idol. Like he literally on his show, he said, I worship that guy. I love that guy. That guy was my favorite black man ever. And I said, that's crazy. Everybody knows Bill Cosby was the best one ever. Then he roofied those people. But like I said, who's the judge? Don't throw the first stone. Let them throw it and you throw it back. That's what you do. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I got something for y'all. Mr. Turner, Mr. I Love Tupac. Let me read some of his literature here. He says in one of his songs called Under Pressure, Thug Life is the name of this man's book. I haven't listened to the song, but I read the so-called lyrics. One of these songs here, and it says here, right before, it says here, one of these days I'll learn don't F with the trick-ass N-words, because they turn into B-word as N-words. Sick, gross things. I'm sick of being stuck in the county jail. My N-words clown bring a pound when they're posting bail. Smoking blunts. That's marijuana. In the driveway, my 4.5 screaming, that is a handgun, I believe, a 45. He says, F the police. the law. Won't fly away, thug, till I die. You wonder why I'm made this way. I wasn't turned out. I was raised this way. I'm thinking these are the dreams of a young teen. Scheme and stack green over crack fiends. One time can't hold me. One time being, once again, the law. One of these days we got to bust back for the homies. That is your friend or ally. Locked down in the penitentiary, which is jail, basically, prison. He says, I'll finally lose my mind if the pigs, another reference to the law, the derogatory one, succeed. I'm stressed, smoking weed and nicotine. But what an N-word really need is Thorazine. Now, folks, let's talk about that for a minute. You know what that is? That's a tiger tranquilizer. This man, this mentally ill, mentally disturbed fiend of marijuana, he talks about needing Thorazine. Is that going to make you a better thug? Are you going to be hip after you do that? Are you going to be cool? You're going to be one of those cool guys, right? Yeah, I don't think so. He says, right before I die, I'll be cursing the law. Now this, all of this he says, and all of these bad things he has confessed to, this is not what's going to send Mr. Pack to hell. Well, he passed away, so, he's already there. What's going to send Mr. Pack to hell, or what did send Mr. Pack to hell, and this is most important, this is not accepted by the Old Testament. I don't know about the New Testament. I ignore that one. It says here, and here's what I'm going to tell you. He says, right before I die, I'll be cursing the law. Reincarnated B-word. Even worse than before. My 4-4's giving payback. My underhanded plan to get them N-words while they'd laid back. I don't care about none of that. What's going to get him or you sent to the gates of hell and to be smoked like pork is this one thing he says here. Reincarnated B-word.
My Lord.
Horrible, lurid, disgusting lyrics from a vile, disgusting man who wore a what they call a doo-wop rag backwards on his head. Kind of like Aunt Jemima, which is why they took her off of the syrup, because she was satanic. She was a black woman who wore the do-rag backwards, and I believe she was representing a gang. That is what I was told. And I trust that the people that are canceling the things, they are making the right decisions for us. And thank goodness, because they saved us from the horribleness of the gang bangers, like Mr. Pack and Mrs. Jemima. You think I'm playing? I'm not. You will burn in hell for the belief that you could come back as anything other than what you once were. A toad, a horse, a cranberry. Can you come back as a fruit, or I don't know if that's is that even a fruit? I don't know what that is. But that you could. Are you going to come back as that? Is that what you're going to be? A mosquito? Flying around, sucking blood, and then I was living in a big house. Look at where I'm at now. I'm a mosquito. Bang, and you're dead. That's it. Simple as that. This is what this man believes. Now let's go back to Josh Turner, a man who has said that he openly supports this man and another one named Eazy-E. Eazy-E. This man had a song that went something like this. Waiting for some people to leave. I got another trick up my sleeve. Step with pep to the back of the house. Look in. All the lights are out. Grab the door and it's locked so. Easily made my way to the window. Lifted up slowly because it takes time in. Looked around, then climbed in. Once inside, you start taking, because there's no time for faking. Get what you're going to get front and center, or get 5 years for breaking and enter. Move quickly, but no running. Shh, I think somebody's coming. Here's the front door key, and I flee out the back with a fistful of jewelry over the wall. Don't fall, wipe my sweat, cause that was a close call. Getting ganked by me is a lesson. So, are there any more questions? Who in the hell is going to memorize some shit like that and be having it in your brain? Excuse me for the foul language. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be, but it makes me so mad. These thugs, and then this guy's going to get on his show and support it. And the worst part of all, he talks about reincarnation. He talks about the Anunnaki, the Anunnaki. You know what that is? Rapists. That's what they are. They came and they raped everything on Earth, supposedly, and had a whole bunch of species of specimens of things. And this guy says he worships them, and he says that we were created by them, possibly. The other day, he backtracked. He got all scared because I sent him a mean message. Talking about the Anunnaki. I said, you better watch yourself, boy, because we are watching you. I'll take my glasses off when I do it. We are watching you. You understand? You understand, boy? This Mr. Pack is something else. Crazy stuff, man. And then on the very next, he says there, this is a guy he calls Stretch. I don't know who this guy is. Something, I guess one of his homies. He says, never run, throw your gun in the air. Oh, yeah, N-word, bust ain't no time to spare. Causing ruckus, mother effer, and we F the S word up, and with that stainless steel razors, boy, we cut S word up. Flash and blast an N-word with the quickness, cock the 4-pound mother effer when I spit this and rip this. Damn, my mind is in the depths of hell. Unreal. This is the kind of stuff that Mr. Turner once found amusing. No wonders he is the way he is. But when I'm walking on the street, kid, my name rings bells and I never fail. N-word, I stand too tall. I'm just a thug mother effer who was born to brawl. Like a Nephilim. Born to brawl. That's what you are. Very evil thing there. Giving my all, some N-words want to bring it to me, so I'ma sell my cocaine and lay their ass down, G. Another reference to murder. Unbelievable. It goes on and on. Puff weed and stuff G's in my sock. You know, where is my Hennessy, my car, my Glock? This is horrible stuff. Horrible, horrible stuff. And then the chorus says, when the pressure's on, it's a hit. Ski mask, extra gats. That's a reference to a gun. Bring the clips. Don't nobody move when we walk the streets. They stay silent because talk is cheap. And then he says it about 50 times over and over again, just to make sure you get the point. You be the judge. And please, don't hold back in judging this man. Not Mr. Pack, he's gone. We don't have to worry about him no more. His music's still causing harm to the youth of America, but obviously Mr. Turner listened to this in his youth. I bet you he listened to that Rolling Stone song too, Sympathy for the Devil. He's already openly said he listened to Slayer. You want to hear one of their songs? Dance with the dead in my dreams. Listen to their hollowed screams. The dead have taken my soul. Temptation lost all control. You know what that song is? That's about a serial killer named Ed Gein. Gives me the chills when I think about it. And this is what he does. This is what he does, folks. And then you foolishly, you pile in there to listen to this man say these horrible things. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm not going to pretend like I understand. Because me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. And we are not about that in our household. We are, and when we say the grace, you better believe that it's we're praying to the Old Testament. Because that's what we're told to do by the Old Testament and some of the people who wrote it. Just want you to know what kind of person you're following when you tune into Paranoid or Paranormal Ran table. I'm so flustered I can't even say the words right. Never ever have I thought that we would have to sit here and tell people to not listen to Satanism. We're almost getting some people up here. Here we go. The intro to this song says, "How I've waited for you to come. I've been here all alone. Now that you've arrived, please stay a while. And I promise I won't keep you long. I'll keep you forever, 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 forever." It says it multiple times. And then he says, "Graze the skin with my fingertips. The brush of dead cold flesh appease the means. Provoking images, delicate features so smooth. A pleasant fragrance in the light of the moon." Then a chorus says, "Dance with the dead in my dreams. Listen to their hollows." You see what happens when you start? You see what happens? You see how the evil spirit took me over and tried to make me be all into this. I am not into this bull crap right here. Horrible, horrible. Listen to the dead taking my soul. Temptations lost all control. What in the hell? You giving yourself over to the devil, boy? That's what you doing? And you listen to that? And you admit it. You admitted it on your show. We heard you. And we're making a video, and we were going to put you on what they call proverbial blast. Boo! Yah! And you will go down. You will go down. Simple smiles elude psychotic eyes. Have you seen his eyes? Lost all mind control, rationale declines. Empty eyes enslave the creation of placid faces and lifeless pageants. In the depths of a mind insane, fantasy and reality are the same. Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, why am I doing that? Okay, I will admit I did listen to the song for research purposes, and I did like it a little bit. It was a little catchy, but it is evil and it is bad. It's bad and it's wrong. It's badong. Graze the skin with my fingertip. The brush of dead, warm flesh pacifies the means. Incised members, ornaments on my being, adulating the skin before me. And then it goes on to say the evil choruses again, you know. And then there's a young lady, it sounds like she's screaming for something. I don't know if she's hungry or what's going on there, but it's a horrible, horrible song. Sung by horrible people. The lead singer is a long-haired Hispanic individual who looks, and I'm not saying this because he's Hispanic, I'm saying it because he looks like an unsavory type that you would not want to, like someone who would come work like in your neighborhood, like trimming trees and stuff like that, and then you'd be like, well, I better keep my kids away from that guy. You know, he looks satanic and illegal. Just gonna say it, and not trying to be racist. Shade Viking up here. What's he saying? He said this guy's always causing trouble. I'm gonna have to tell this guy something about had it with him. Always in defense of the devil, right, Shade? Look, Slayer is not bad, and it's an act. They also have a song called Jesus Saved. They say there is no other way. Okay, you know what? They all sing about the Nazis, too. Berlin. What is that? Then they have a German helmet with a vampire skull guy with something with some weird swords going through it. It's weird. It's really weird. It's all bad. It's very bad. See, I'm one of those strict puritanical Baptists that I don't even think you should be listening to Johnny Cash. Because, first of all, money is the root of all evil. And this man's last name is Cash. Have you heard some of the things he sings about? He even did a 10-inch nails. What is that guy's name? How many inches is it? What? Anyway, he says, I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. What in the heck is he talking about? Is this heavy cutting you're doing, Mr. Johnny? Huh?
Self-mutilation is never encouraged.
Enough of this insanity. We're done. Horrible. So yeah, that's one of my detractors. That is Pastor Jack. Pastor Jack does not like me at all, and he has voiced his opinion. Trent Reznor, yes, I was going to say Trent Razor because that's something that Pastor Jack would say, right? Pastor Jack would be like, Trent Razor, you straight razor people in the streets of Chicago. It's kind of Dominican or something. I don't know what he's doing.
I had to keep from cracking up this whole time. Holy crap. Oh my God.
So anyway, sorry folks, I just had to put those skits out there because I thought, you know what, why make you suffer through anything else? You know, when you're waiting for the chat to fill up. Anybody that missed it, you can go back and listen, and we'll have it. So what are we going to talk about tonight? See everybody who's in the chat here. Yes, and I did memorize some of those songs just so I could, you know. But I thought that lyric was funny though. Right before I die, I'll be cursing the law, reincarnation. Like, oh, he said reincarnation. Oh my God, let's key in on that. That is going to send you to the gates of hell, boy, where you will meet Sirius. What's the dog's name with the forehead?
Cerberus.
Yeah, him, the Siberian. We'll meet him.
The Cyclops.
The Serbian husky. Evil. Bad stuff. Bad. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, there's a guy who sent me a message. He's from Ireland. What's really cool, I actually had another guy, shout out to Kevin we had a conversation on Thursday. I wasn't feeling too good, but thank you we had a phone time with he's from Scotland, and they had a vampire encounter in Poland, which was very interesting. And Anthony, you got to hear a little bit of that conversation. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting. But the Scottish accent's so hard to understand. You're like, and no offense to Kevin, we got to get back on there and finish up talking. He's like, oh, well, I saw this vampire and he was walking around and I heard Poland and my friend and I was like, because I was kind of doing two things at once, and so wasn't getting it completely right. So we got to get back on the horn so I can get that story, but I'm sure it's going to be good. He had some UFO stuff, just a lot of different encounters. But so I had somebody reach out to me from Ireland, and they're from Ireland, like right outside of Dublin, in a little bitty village, basically. But oddly enough, what happened to them, they were not in Ireland when this particular incident happened. They were in a place called Slovenia. And they went for a wedding because his brother is in international finance and went to, and by his own, this is what he said. Michael told me. He said, my brother, that's how he talks. Mm-hmm. He says, he's in international finance. I hate to say it, but he's not a good lad. He's done a lot of things. And he's finally, he wasn't a good person anyway. He's settled down. He got him a wife, and her family is from there. So he moved there. There's a lot of people that do business there, right? It's kind of like a mini Switzerland in a way, but there's a lot of people that go to business there. So what he did, and I've talked to people before who've done it, you know, who travel there. And so what he did was he had a Dogman encounter in Slovenia when he went to the wedding. What's really odd is that I looked up several Dogman encounters back when we had Jenna Perry and Guadalupe Hernandez, no relation to the Hernandez Ranch, giving us these stories about these were the Bear Man stories. Mm-hmm. And so what's crazy is I'm going to start off with a Dogman story, you know, from Europe, but it's nuts because I looked up several stories of when people had these Dogman encounters. I found going through the archives, because I did some detailing on some of them. 5 different, well, I guess 6. One of, not really. That doesn't really count. That wasn't a wedding. 5 of them I mean, that's when you take like 2,000 Dogman stories or however many how many we get access to. We got the NADP stories too. But like you get 5 of them that I found just scrolling through for a couple of hours looking at different encounters. And this one was crazy. But 5 different people had encounters when they went to go somewhere for a wedding. It's crazy, dude. So there's another guy named Rodney had one when he was down in South Texas. Another one had one when she came to Central Texas, was Jenna Perry. She was on the show, and then we had another guy. Oh God, what is his place location? Whatever. Denton, happened up in Denton, Texas. And another one was up in Oklahoma, near not Oklahoma City, not Tulsa. Dang it, what is the other city? I think it starts with a T. Anyway, I can't remember the name of it. It's right outside of there. Anyway, it's a small town in Oklahoma where he's from, but there's a bigger town there. And so these people, they go to these, like a wedding. They go, and so they get drinking and having fun, and then they see a Dogman. So it's kind of a weird thing why there's that many. There would be like almost half a dozen people who've encountered Dogman during weddings or at the area where the wedding is being held. One of the things I noticed, so 4 of these encounters took place because the place where they were either staying at or where the wedding took place was out in the countryside. And one of them was really crazy because do you remember how my cousin Emily and her husband Daniel, great people, wonderful people, they had their wedding and it was huge.
Yeah.
How many people went there? Like 300-400 people probably?
At least.
Maybe 500. I think they said that it was about 500 guests, but I think at any given time there was at least 300 or 400 there coming and going. And they had these big porta-johns, and it was out on the farm. Mm-hmm. And so one of these stories, I'm going to tell you 2 of them tonight that they're going to get into. Then we're going to get into some bear man too, and a little bit of ghosts. But one thing that was told to me by this individual, Michael, who says, man, he goes, me and my brother, we're in Slovenia for his wedding. His wife, he goes, she's a beautiful girl. He's like, I'm not going to lie. He goes, I was smitten with her cousin. She was beautiful. So me and her kind of snuck off together and went for a walk, We'd all been drinking at the reception. He's like, there was nothing going on, no hanky-panky. We just went out and went for a walk. He's like, and then he goes, we hear this growling noise coming from the woods. And he said that they also heard what sounded like the crunching of bone. And prior to them walking into the woods, they thought when they were walking out there, and then they had these outdoor restrooms, whatever, and she had to use the restroom. He waited. He thought that he heard like a person scream. And he was like, but he wanted to spend time with this girl. So, of course, when she comes out, he takes her, into the woods. And he says, I'm not going to lie, I was a little apprehensive after hearing that scream. It was like a sharp scream, and it just ended abruptly. Boom, 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 boom. He goes, and then we hear this crunching noise, and she's like, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. He goes, she spoke okay English. He goes, we were both trying to speak English, but he said, she was like, what is that? So she stopped. She was like, I don't want to go any further. She got scared. Which who the hell wouldn't if you hear some crunching, growling, sound like a predator. And then he said that he was walking. He says, man, what am I doing here? I'm so trying to talk to this girl. And he goes, I'm not going to lie to you, Josh. That's what he says. He goes, the idea did come in my head. Like, it could be a werewolf. He's like, I'd never heard of it. I'd never gone to your show. I didn't know what a Dogman was. I'd never heard of it, Dogman. Never. So he talks. He's like, and then I hear this cracking of bones. Like something biting. Somebody had been bitten and they're laying there dying. So I walked up to it and said, dum Dale. No, I'm just kidding. That's Gaelic for top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. No, that's not what happened. I made that joke when we were talking, and he laughed. He did. But he said, he goes, I see this thing move through the trees. He said, and it was like this, like it was moving like kind of monkey-like. And then I noticed that the lower legs were like a dog's, like a right wolf. Either that or this lad's got serious problems. He's covered in hair, got the big ears. The ears stand up on the side of the head. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it, Chris. So what ended up happening? He said, this thing was moving towards us. It was gray. He goes, I could see it. The moon was, you know, he goes, the moon was bright. He couldn't tell me whether it was full or not. And I didn't bother to go back and research. I didn't have time to go back and look to see if there was a full moon that night or not. I could. I know the date. You know, happened in April 2019, the year that our show started. So, and I was actually looking for stories to do for we're going to do an anniversary thing. But our show started on the day of my mother's birthday. And so I just kind of was like, I just, you know, it was just, I don't know, it's a rough time. So I just was like, you know, we didn't do that. But so I found this story, but then I messaged him back and we finally connected. He gave me that story like back in 2022. So it wasn't like, it's only been there for by my standards, not a long time. It was a couple of years because sometimes you go way back. And so what ended up happening, we connected and we talked with Facebook Messenger, man. You'll be dropping the call and stuff. It's crazy. But we got it done because if you try to call them, and Tony learned this the hard way by talking to a witness from Britain, from England, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was how much did it cost us? Like $200 or something?
That's pretty bad.
It was $200, man. So we learned from that that was back in 2019.
I didn't even like that. It was a good story, but we didn't even use it. That was the worst part.
Oh, we did. We eventually did.
Mm.
But we had to go. I had to go back and call him on Messenger.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening? He hears this and he sees this thing coming toward him, and it's a gray-looking creature. He can see it. It was light gray. It wasn't black. And it had white on its chest too. And he said that if you took it out of, like, I gotta use the words he used because the accent was really thick. Michael, the way you said it was like, if you took him out of this reality, he would be like a perfect cartoon. So what I took that to mean was, like, it looked like a caricature of a cartoon made in this life. Uh-huh. Like if you took a cartoon character and turned it into a life, you know, like the way they did One Piece.
Yeah.
And they made it into a live action, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That's the way he was describing it. Because I told him that. I said, what do you mean by that? And he was trying to explain it, and he's like, you got to follow me, Josh. And I'm like, I'm having a hard time. But what he was telling me was that this thing looked cartoonish, but it was real. It was in real life. He's like, you know, the way I understood it was like if somebody drew a cartoon and put it in a human form. I can get that.
Yeah.
So it ran toward him, and they turned and they ran. And he goes, and I did the gentleman thing. I let her run in front of me, but she wasn't moving fast enough. So I turned and started pulling her by the arm. He goes, which wasn't working. He's like, and so I turned and I looked back, and he goes, and the thing was kind of moving around, you know, through the trees on my left side, making pretty good time. It was catching up to us. He said, and I said, the closest you got, he says, I don't know, which for us, it would translate to about 10 feet. I said, well, hell, that's about as close as I got to one of these things. That's scary, but it wasn't really very large. He said it was really wide and had big legs. Didn't have real big, thick arms like a bodybuilder, nothing like that. Big, rangy looking thing. But he said it was only about 6.5 foot, which I say that's not real big because it's not, you know, the 8 foot, you know, basic whatever you see people talk about, 9 foot, whatever. So what ended up happening? They get back around. There's like this long, he said about 50 yards they had to run to where they could get to the bathrooms. And then from there, there's another 30 yards to where all the people were. He said, so we're running. And he goes, and this whole time she's trying to hang on to her shoes. And I'm like, drop those shoes. You know, just stop. Don't even, the dress that she had on, like, you got to slip. Just use the slip. Don't even worry about the, So he said, dude, I had to we ran back, and then we couldn't wrap our minds around what had just happened. We ran so much. We ran all the way out onto the dance floor. And we're wandering through the dance floor together. And she's, our feet are full of mud, and we're just freaking out, and people are like looking down because there's mud coming off of our feet, and we're just looking disheveled and dirty. And he's like, dude, because at one point I guess I fell. He goes, I don't even remember falling at the time. Then later on, he goes, about 2 weeks later, I was sitting at work, and I was like, man, I fell down. And I remember that. And he didn't remember it at the time. When something like that happens, a lot of times at that moment, right after that, you don't remember everything. And then later on, you go back and you start reevaluating. You're like, oh, crap, this happened, that happened, blah, blah, blah. So what ended up happening? He goes and he tells his brother, and his brother's just like, whatever. He doesn't really believe it. But then he talks him into going, go look. And he said, but I didn't really mean it. I didn't want my brother to go out there into those woods and be attacked by whatever that demon was. He called it a demon. And he said, but I just blurted it out. I said, if you don't believe me, we'll take a peek. And his brother's like, all right, I will. I don't believe you. I think you're lying. Liquor lying. He told him. The liquor's lying to you. You got her drunk. You heard a noise. You run. Now you're up here telling tales of big giant wolf men out in the woods. Little kids' stories is from children. He goes, there was a story right outside of Dublin where we grew up of this giant wolf-like creature that would chase people. And his uncle has a story about it. And he said, Uncle Billy getting in your head, making you think things that were not real. And you're over there, scared, running with a maiden in the woods. What happened to chivalry? I'm going to protect you. He said he could have used it as an opportunity to be a tough guy and make her and impress her. He goes, I'm not impressing anything if I've been eaten alive by a wolf, man. I agree. Uncle Billy, he says, telling tales of a wolf, chasing him, running him down. He fought it off with a piece of wood from an old wagon, that's what he claimed. And they're like, oh, what a ridiculous tale. And then he told his brother's like, I'm going to go do this. I'll deal with this. Takes off. And at that point, he goes, I came to my senses. I began to run, behind him and tell him, hey, man. He's like, don't do it. Don't go into those woods and go after this thing. The cousin of the bride was saying the same thing. Please don't do this. And everybody was like, no, we're going to do this, right? So him and three guys start going down toward the woods. And then when they get down toward the they get up to the top of the hill and then it kind of goes back down where the portable restrooms were. He goes, two of them had to go use the restroom. So his brother says, okay, fine. Me and the other guy will go. And they just kept walking and they left the other two behind. He goes, if it's there, we got to go. We don't have time to go use the bathroom. If it's there, it's there. We got to find it. So they go into the woods, and his brothers. I didn't talk to his brother, but from what Michael told me, his brother took about 10, 15 steps into the woods, and he hears this growl and then this shrieking howl. Because the way that Michael described it, he didn't say shrieking howl, but that's my words. But that's the way he described it, because he did kind of an impression. It was pretty good, actually. But when he's walking into the woods and he hears this like growl that turns into like a howl, and then it was unreal. He said it went through their chest, and he goes, my brother, like they had a heart attack in the woods, is gonna die from the pain in his chest. He's like, I'm telling you, straight heart attack, he was gonna die. Turns around, runs back out, chest hurting. Didn't see it, but he heard it and he was convinced it was real. He knew it was there. He said that's all that needed to happen. He's like, my brother came and was like, and then they literally got on the microphone and told everybody, folks, don't go to the woods. Don't go to the edge of the woods. If you have to go to the restroom, go in 2s or 3s. This was at 10 o'clock at night. So they called the police, and they came, and they wandered through the woods with flashlights, and they found an unalived person. Right there in the woods. About 80 yards in through the woods. Off to the right. And it had been chewed on by a predator. So you think about this, folks. He's like, we were there. He goes, I stayed there for 3 extra days to help with the investigation or get information, whatever. And he said that it was crazy. Because they were like, oh, it was a dog attack. And he's like, I talked to these fools. He goes, I told them, I said, this wasn't no dog. It was a wolf on 2 legs. Looking like a man. Put into a blender with a wolf spat out. There it is. Those are his words. So what ended up happening? Nothing. It's declared a dog attack. What he saw and what the girl that he was with saw just swept under the rug. But the local constabulary kept asking him over and over again to tell the truth. Tell the truth. And he's like, I did. You could help us if you tell us what this thing really looked like. He goes, but then, he goes, there was this one detective that comes in. Really nice guy. He goes, I'll never forget. He comes in, he's just stirring coffee. The whole time he's just watching us being talked to. He's just standing there. And he's drinking coffee. He drinks 1 cup, goes back, gets another one, drinks another cup. He's like, he goes, this guy, I thought he was a psycho. Drinking coffee. Chain smoking. It was like a chimney I was in there, I was choking. This guy had drank 4 cups of coffee. At this point, his blood's half coffee. And he said that really the shocking thing, the guy didn't say much at all. And then he told the other guys to leave. And he closed the door and he sat down with us both. They talked to us separately and then both of us together. And he says when he sat down, he's like, he's got this like deadpan stare on his face. Then he leans in and goes, these things are real. He's like, these other guys, they're young. They don't know. They don't remember. He said this guy looked to be about 65 years old. Still working. And he said that even though he looked like he was 65, the guy told him he was 76. He said, but he looked like he was in his early to mid 60s maybe. So he's like, the people there, they take very, very good care of themselves over there, like compared to here. And he says, what you saw, there's different names for it. He's like, but I call it a werewolf. He said, and he spoke very good English. This guy lived in Canada for a while at one point. And he used to travel the United States pretty regularly. And his mother was Canadian, his dad was Slovenian. Met on business in Toronto. But this cop, he tells him, he says, look, let me tell you something. He's like, when I was in Canada visiting my mother's family, we were in the French-Canadian wilderness. And like most Europeans, he speaks multiple languages. He speaks like 5 languages. The Irish kid, Michael, speaks 4. Speaks Gaelic. I know some Gaelic too, so we were kind of going back and forth. He's like, oh, he's right, Leather, you get it? I was like, yeah, I know a little bit. I've studied it a little. So He speaks Gaelic and English, obviously, but he also speaks Greek. And so that's one of the things we were talking about is the Septuagint, and the Pentateuch, and all that with the. And so that's pretty cool. He speaks Greek and Latin, which I forgot about Latin. He speaks Italian. He's a very handy guy if you need to translate some things. But this Slovenian guy, they were talking. He goes, we both spoke multiple languages. He goes, we started joking and kind of talking different languages. And he says, I told him, I said, are we a suspect in this? And he says, no. He says, unless the autopsy comes back and says something weird, like maybe this man was killed and then he was chewed up by an animal. He goes, but the puncture wounds, from what I've seen on the body, and the blood that was pretty fresh when we got there, that man had just been killed. And the blood was coming out from the wounds, from the puncture wounds. But that doesn't rule out that maybe he was killed. So the autopsy, that's why he stayed. So the autopsy comes back the next day after this second day of initial, whatever. Autopsy finally comes back. Death by canines. Unknown species. Wild animals. Wild party. They think that he was a wedding crasher. Like somebody who, he just came to enjoy the festivities. Mm-hmm. Then they found out that he was a guy he wasn't even from there, but he had been squatting. And so some people did say after the picture that he passed around that they had seen him at the wedding, but he didn't know anybody there. He'd been camping, kind of out in the woods. And that reception hall where they had the wedding, there was like most of the time there were people out there. It was like once or twice a month somebody would go out there and rent it out. It was a very expensive place. And this guy was just camping out in the woods, being unmolested pretty much, and he could go up and use the outdoor facilities that were right there. Mm-hmm. And then there was a pond and a stream. So he was right there. He hears the wedding. He goes up there, gets inebriated and wanders out into the woods, and then something attacks him. But this story gets weirder before I can even, get any further in. This is what happened. They found out that there was a guy at the wedding who would have been the cousin that was the girl that he was with, that Michael walked into the woods. I don't know her name. But her aunt's ex-husband, which would have been, on her dad's side, not the mom where she's connected to the groom's wife or whatever. He showed up at the wedding. He was there for a few minutes and then he left. He was on the phone down by the Porta-Johns and he was arguing with someone. And then somebody saw him throw his phone into the woods and then take his jacket and shirt off, which was unusual, and then walk into the woods and not come back out. And it was somebody that he knew, and they were like, hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you throwing your phone into the woods? Doesn't make any sense. Oh. But then when they yelled into the woods, all they heard was a cracking noise, cracking, popping, and then a growl. This guy was taken in for questioning because he was out in the woods, not because they thought he had killed somebody, because they said a human didn't do this. So he wasn't even a suspect. He was taken in because Michael and his brother and his brother's wife and his brother's cousin, they were very bulldoggedly, tenaciously trying to figure out what the hell happened. How somebody could die just, yards, 100 yards, whatever, 150 yards, whatever it was, from the wedding. Weird stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So then they interview the guy and this police officer who he remained friends with, who used to be a part of the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. He worked for the RCMP, then he went to live in Slovenia. Got a job there, and then, So what this guy told him, he says, it's odd. We interviewed this guy who was your date's, well, not date, but the girl you were with. He said, the girl he called it dating, whatever. And he goes, the girl that you've been talking to, whatever, her uncle's, basically by marriage. Former, I guess, because he would be an ex. He said, then we interviewed this guy, and he says, yeah, that happened. I got into an argument with my ex-wife, the one he was married to, after he divorced the aunt, whatever. She had something negative to say about my children, about how she was going to, they're fighting, over custody, things like that. I got mad and I threw my phone into the woods and I couldn't find it. So I just kept looking. He goes, did you hear your friend calling to you? He says, yeah, I did. But like I told you, I couldn't find my phone. And he says, well, what, at approximately 10:11 p.m., it was like 10:11, not 10:11, 10 or 11. It was 10:11 p.m. He's like, where were you at? Were you still in the woods? He says, no, I had gone back up the hill. And he said, that's funny because not one person can corroborate where you went for the rest of the night. So you have that going for you, or going against you. So, what are we to believe? You're out in the woods looking for your cell phone that you threw into the woods because you was angry. And then you don't come back. He goes, and now you're sitting here lying to me, this police officer, a detective, been around the block more than a few times, a little long in the tooth, But this guy, he was lying. He's like, you did not go back up there. You never returned to the party. And in fact, your jacket and your dress shirt were found on the ground. Why would you take those off? He said, well, I was angry and it was warm to me. And it was warm. He's like, it was 68 degrees. So he said that he takes off into the woods to go get his phone. He was so angry, he took off his shirt because he was angry and it was hot. Then along comes Michael and whatever the other girl's name was. And they go into the woods and they hear a cracking noise, crunching, right? And a growl. What the hell, dude? Then the brother goes down there with another guy, and because the other two had went to go take off, whatever, use the bathroom. So they go down into the spooky woods, hear this growl, and then a howl that goes through their chest, makes them feel like they're going to throw up, makes their head hurt. They said it hurt them all the way from their anus to their top of their head. It was weird. It was like this pain on both spots, and everything in between was affected. Brett, not a big fan of the Rolling Stones, but damn, they nailed it with the song "What a Drag It Is Getting Old." You ever heard that song, Anthony?
Yeah.
What a drag it is getting old.
Yeah, it's a song about Quaaludes. Little Yellow Pill or something like that.
It's Mother's Little Helper.
Yeah, Mother's Little Helper.
Life's so different today.
Mm-hmm.
I hear everybody say. So if you take one of those, you will get an overdose. Well, more of those, I guess it would be. So what ends up happening? Keep asking that question. The police officer gives him that information. He quit 2 days after this case. After that, he was like, retired. He said, this case came at the wrong time. He told him, he goes, I'm a week from retirement. That was when he took over, started talking to him. Thank you, Miguel Guerra, for that donation. The Kool-Aid didn't work last time. Give me a bad stomach ache. And Sam Howard also let me see out of my left eye. Love you guys. All hell PRT. All hell PRT. You mean you're going to hell, Mr. Turner, with the reincarnations and all the other whatever you be doing. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Talking to this guy, he says, I talked to this police officer, and he goes, and so periodically he would check in with me, and he has over the last several months. We've talked a couple times. He's like, and I said, what did he say? He said something very odd. He was in England recently, not too long ago. He goes, and I was going to England at the same time. Because we were both going to be near London. And I was actually in another city, so it was like a 2-hour drive, so I just decided to drive down there and have lunch with him. We become friends. He goes, and in fact, he goes, his son, he goes, we became friends, and his son and I went hunting. They have a place. He's like, it's a really nice place, and so it's in the south of France. We got invited to go on a hunting trip, me and my brother. So these guys were actually really cool. They got to be friends. He's like, he checked in on me pretty regularly, checked in on the girl, And he said, you know, I started dating this other girl, and when I told her this story, she became very intrigued and encouraged me to stay in contact with this police officer. And so I did. And then it got to where he would call me and I'd call him. We'd talk about the case. Several things going on here that I got to tell you about. Always remember, if you're an up-and-coming podcaster, YouTuber, or you're trying to learn or you're writing books or whatever it is that you're doing, remember certain things. When someone gives you a story, you need to have them rack their brain for any other stories that they may have. Not just that has happened to them, but what they've heard or anything familial. Because a lot of times somebody will give you a story about something, it'll make a lot more sense when they start telling you that their uncle, their cousin, or their brother or sister, mom, dad, former girlfriend, whatever, has a story, something. Especially when they can get in touch with those people and get them to reach out to you. That is big, because one story can turn into 5. And that's what happened with this. So we went round and round. His uncle, Uncle Billy, had a story. This girlfriend that he told her about what was going on about this, whatever he's been seeing, she got really interested in it. Why? Because her brother and his best friend saw one of these things. Pretty crazy. And interesting that last week I get in contact with 2 different people from the British Isles, one from Northern Ireland, which is considered part of Britain, not Ireland because it's not, but then also Scotland. So I thought that was really neat. So I got some stories out of the British Isles recently. One in Scotland involved a werewolf-type creature. And, well, both of them did. The one in Ireland, though, was a fairy-type story, I believe, that involved werewolf. Now, if I would have just taken the werewolf story, I would have had 15 minutes of whatever, but it involved a lot more than that. That's the problem when these people, they retell their stories on these shows. They're only telling you the Dogman part, and then there's all this other stuff that gets left on the table. We were talking about that last night with Abe. I mean, not with Abe, with Chris James and Rob Yox, and Joel Rimmenschneider came on for a little while. She didn't start the show with us, but she came on. She was on for a couple of hours. So, but you know, we were already like an hour in or something. Her and her husband Brett did the A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot revealed. Got a lot of backlash for it. But anyway, what ended up happening, these stories, they kind of, you know, bring it together. This police officer starts doing some digging, you know, kind of on the side. He gets bored after being retired, so he decided to become a private investigator. I went to work for this company in the Czech Republic. And one of the things that he learned was that after talking to some of the police there were a lot of people who believed in these things. Something he had not given a whole lot of thought to, but this police officer, the one that he stayed, that Michael stayed in touch with, when he took that job in the Czech Republic, he got to know a police officer there. And one of the things that really stuck with me on that was that police officer had covered a case, or one of the things that stuck with him, let's put it that way. He said that he had covered a case where if he didn't know any better, he would think that the murder was committed by a werewolf. Because he told him, that the last case he had was really baffling and he couldn't get it out of his head. And so when he talked to this one police officer there in the Czech Republic, he told him a story about a murder that had happened in 1996, and he believed that it was connected to what we would consider a werewolf. So, I guess it wouldn't be the Czech Republic, it would be called Czechia now. They changed it, I guess. But I got to take one of these lozenges, folks. My throat is going out. And so, near Prague, which is the capital, the place where, that's the biggest city where this happened. He said we was working in Prague, but where this murder happened, he's like, it's just south of Prague, which is kind of in the north central of Czechoslovakia, or not Czechoslovakia. Slovakia is its own country now. Czech Republic, Czechia. So he said that when they were in Prague, he said, I got to know this one police officer. I guess he would be a former police officer, my bad. And they worked together at this private investigator place. Most of what they did, though, because almost all of our cases involved, like the high-profile ones, where people were smuggling weapons and things like that in and out of the country, and they were finding, and the police were kind of employing them. He said, and then there was this, some said district of Bohemia, yeah. Because there's different parts. There's, you're right, Bohemia and Moravia, whatever. Different types of Czech people. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people know that or not. And then there's Germanic Czechs, boyars, as they used to be called. Chef boyars. Now there's Jill. What's up, Jill? If you guys missed it, the first hour of the show is just we were trying to get not an hour, the first 40 minutes was just comedy skit. So you guys got to go back and check that out. Because we were trying to get, entertain you guys while we're filling the chat up. So what ends up happening, this police officer, former police officer from Prague, he introduces him to another guy. He says, there's a guy that's my partner. We worked on this case together. And this police officer tells Michael, the Irish kid, right? Well, he's not a kid. He's 35, but I'm old. I'm 48. So I'm 13 years older than a 35-year-old. So he says he throws the file on the desk. He goes, and I'm like, what is this? And it says on there, werewolf murders. Can you believe that? Werewolf murders. He said from 1988 to 1996, there were 4 homicides in and around the area where he was at. They were all classified as different things. One of them was death by exposure, and then an animal chewed the person's body up. Another one was an animal attack that they couldn't explain. Another person fell, and it was an accidental falling death, something that just resulted in bunches of bite marks all over them. Then he goes, there was another one It just said unknown. They didn't know. All of them were different. And get this, the police officer who was still working with the Prague, he told them, he said, I don't believe any of these people died the way they say they did. And he said that, in a couple of years I'll be retired too. He goes, but I'll never believe that until the day I die. One of the people who was killed unalived, as they want you to say, came to them a week, or I think he said 2 weeks before her accidental falling and dying to death. It was horrible. It was the worst case of dying that anybody's ever died from. I couldn't even hear about it. It was like that scene in Kung Pao with the little baby rolls. It just keeps going. That's how she felt. Okay, paddle baby. Oh, it's so cute. That's like rolls down the hill, hits every tree
And rock.
and rocks. Not to make light of
The
it.
X Games, he was doing tricks up there.
Oh, it's crazy. Then rolls down onto a frozen pond, and a bunch of ice skaters come and run all over her. It was horrible. Oh, it was horrible, Johnny. You should have seen it. She looked like Freddy Krueger mixed with Leatherface. Then all the ice skaters just Christmas caroling away and left her there to be, well, whatever. And this guy, he says, I saw her, every inch of her body had been mauled, and there were bites out of her body that were definitely an animal. And they said she died because she fell. And then one of the captains came from a neighboring district, from different part of the city, and started asking them questions about their investigation into these things. And then began to chastise them, and then told their captain there at that substation that they were at to tell them to stop. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Oh, it's a growling. Don't look around. Stop looking. Stop that. Don't look like that. Why you do these things? You stupid. Thank you, Rita, for that donation. I was beginning to feel unloved, unwanted. But you know how I put on a brave face, the sad clown. But so, thank you, Rita. We really appreciate that. Rita always comes through for us. So what happens? This police officer tells him some crazy, crazy stuff. Tells him, he goes, at that moment I became suspicious that they were protecting someone. And he's like, our thoughts, which this is the police officer that's now, if you can't follow, let's start from Michael, the Irish guy that had the encounter with the girl. This is the detective that they met when they were being, let's just be honest, interrogated. Before the autopsy results came back, this guy retired right after that. They stayed in touch, largely due in part to a girlfriend that Michael got, and said you should stay in touch with this guy because she knew somebody, her brother, and his best friend who had a Dogman encounter. So what happens? She says, you should stay in touch with that guy. This is interesting. She's really interested in it. And since talking to me, she's ordered 2 of Linda Godfrey's books and got mine. So thank you for that. Thank you for purchasing that. I'll tell you this. He said it was a good thing that I did. He goes, and then we met in London, and then that's when he told me this story because he wouldn't tell me over the phone. And he said what he found out from this private investigation firm that he went to work for in Czechia. He says, I started working with this guy. His name was Nicholas. And he told me. And then he introduced me to his partner, who was the police officer there in that district of Prague. And they said that what they uncovered would blow your mind. They sat there and they told him that not only did they think that they were protecting someone, they were protecting something. There were secrets involved in this. They believed that there was more than one being, too. And they didn't know how high up this whole thing went. They had no clue. So the scary thing about it, when you stop and you think about it, how many people, how many cities do you think that this could be going on? I mean, it's creepy, right? It's freaky.
Yeah.
Even in our neck of the woods, I'm not going to mention names of towns and things like that because I don't want problems. When we were writing the book, when we did the show, we were basically told that we should scale it back, tone it down. And ever since we got the stories from, thank you for that donation, we appreciate it. Ever since we had Gerald's story on our show and Joel, we've had nothing but bull crap. Some people would say, oh, it's just somebody trolling you, and that could be, because there's multiple different sources of it. But we're basically being told to knock it off. One person sent me a message. I mean, we've had harassment so bad. We filed police reports. One person had said something like, you like having the top of your head or something like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're gonna bite my head off? Is that what you're gonna do? Are you a mantis? A reptilian? Whatever. Endured a ton of abuse. And then the people who didn't even have nothing to do with that part of it, whatever, they stepped it up, and it's like this dark energy that they've rolled us over with has led to some insanity that has just been going on and on and on. We didn't ask for this. But I was told when I went to go and, do this guy's story, he said, just think about this, Mr. Turner. He's like, when you retell my encounters, my stories, my story, you're going to get backlash. He goes, and you're going to have a target on your back. And he asked me if I was ready for it. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I don't know. But I'm already too deep now. My friends in the UFO community, they told me, they're like, hey, don't quit now. You've already said all kinds of stuff and done all kinds of stuff. You're in it to win it now. Seen it 1,000 times, man. People get messed with. Some people make the mistake of quitting, and then if their information is too potent, within a year, something happens. They love to give people cancer, do all kinds of stuff to them, disgrace them in certain ways, whatever, and they said that it's very possible. Once you've been targeted, they'll put their foot on your neck and they're going to let it off until you're dead. But I'm like, hey, gee, that's scary. I've been playing with house money for a long time. So, whatever. I don't take it lightly. I'm not trivializing it or whatever, but I'm not going to let people run me off and stop saying what I know. Would you? So, no, you wouldn't, because you're a paratrooper. That's why you're here. Minus the 15 lurkers that stalk us. Y'all are here just because, well,
then you can see what a good show looks like.
they're like Pastor Jack. Y'all are sick. You have the dimension from the demoniacs on you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to that awful skit that Mr. Josh Turner, I hate to say that name, did at the beginning of this particular show. And what kind of sick man sits there and talks about a skit that he did at the beginning of a show, during the show that he's doing the skit at the beginning of the show of? And just sits there and talks about it like he's in third person, fourth person. I don't know what person he's in now, fifth or sixth, but this skit now is getting ridiculous. And this son of a bitch needs to get back to the store. Excuse my language. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am a kind, gentle, God-fearing Baptist minister who's about to keep cracking these dice. As I crack dice in from one hood to the next, running credit card schemes and cashing hot checks. I got a 9 for anybody who come rolling. Oh my gosh, I did it again. I did it again. These songs, these evil devil songs, they get in my head. They get in my head. I feel like I'm playing cards with my brother's kids. Like Billy Bob Thornton, Tombstone. It's like I'm playing cards with my brother's kids. Oh, good Lord, it's like the sugar got my heart about to stop. You better quit what you hate. I'm watching that Cat Williams last night. Raw. It was really raw. I liked some of it. It was, I ain't gonna lie. It was something else. He's something else. He just dumps on everybody. Biden, Trump, everybody got it. It was bad. Oh, woof. I'm getting that dude's crosshairs. I am a boy. Playing blind football, you can't do that. An awakening for me. I was like, wow. I was about to go to sleep, comrade, and then this guy come on. Wow. Full awake mode now. No need for bear claw coffee. Enemas. Yeah, Smurfy, he'd beyond flamboyant. You got to be prepared for that. You got to do a cleanse afterwards. So, anyway, what ended up happening, these guys, they believe that this was a conspiracy that went up the food chain to where it was above their pay grade. They were asked to stop and turn over all the files they had. Oh, there were more murders too. Different places. It moved. They were in communication with other, as technology advanced. They never really gave up on the cases. But these people never had closure. The deaths were ruled all kinds of wacky bullcrap, all kinds of weird, accidental and stupid things. In another town, about 30 miles, which would be by American standard 30 miles, a woman was run over. But the photographs they saw looked like something had chewed her up. But yet she was on the road, so she got hit. But the autopsy didn't come back clean, like, Mm-hmm. It was like, this person had been killed prior to being on the road being hit. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be completely I'm going to be completely blunt with you. Okay? And I don't mean a blunt like you smoke. I'm talking about being straightforward. Straightforward. No, what I'm going to tell you right now is most important, that I think that this is happening, this is going on, and that what they're doing is lying. And it's happening everywhere. But I'll end up probably like the Alex Jones over there. They're turning the frogs gay. And then they're going to be like, there he is. Or Jerry Jones. I think our chances of winning the Super Bowl are going to be awesome this year. And then they're going to be like, there he is. Or Jim Jones with the sunshades. These aren't shades, but pretend like they are. We all just need to be communist and drink the Kool-Aid. Just drink the Kool-Aid. Brothers and sisters, drink the damn Kool-Aid for the love of God. Not going to tell you again. Down by the river. Charles, thank you for that. I've been in contact with you. We're going to talk this week. I promise. If you keep on me, I'll get to you. Yeah, Dogman encounters what they are. This one was interesting. It got real heady. He said that one of these victims in the other town looked like she had been chewed up and then thrown onto a road. But get this. This was not the work of a canid. These bite marks were human-sized with fangs. She was exsanguinated. Then there was another story from a man, and I can't remember the name of the town. It was a small village east of Prague and to the south. And what happened to this person? Something jumped on her while she was walking through the woods in broad daylight with these weird bugged-out eyes, golem-looking, like winged type thing. Now, we've heard this before. We were going to talk about this. Scorpion has done tons of research on vampires. He's convinced that they're real. He has been for a long time. Where are they at? See if Scorpion D are going to join us.
All right.
We would be honored if you would join us. We're having roast duck. Yep. Because maybe I could ask him the question that I need to ask. Roast duck. Are there any objections? No. And then you're like, are you going to take your helmet off to eat? Do you eat like that? How do you eat? I've always wondered that. I'm sorry, Vader. I'm not trying to be silence. And he's like, ignore my face. Pretend like I'm here. This is just do this. Okay. I find your lack of gravy on your potatoes disturbing. Put more green beans on your plate. That is how you will be healthy. Don't worry about me. I pump pudding into my veins. That's what I'm assuming he does. I don't know if that's what he does.
It's a safe assumption.
Miguel says Vader had a vault. You talking about a ninja that blends his food into a shake. He pureed everything, didn't he? I don't know. How did he eat? He took his helmet off?
Yeah, he took his helmet off.
To eat, though? Did he eat? What did he eat? I don't even know what he did. He eat like some tacos or something?
Space tacos.
Space tacos. I wanted linguine. This ship, turn it upside down until we find chicken parmesan. And the rebel plans. Don't make me get my boy 2-pack. We'll be in the chamber smoking marijuana, conquering the galaxy and all types of ill shit. Don't mess with me. I will choke you. So what ends up happening, this guy, he says something is wrong here. This woman got attacked. She got loose. It was in daylight. This was not at nighttime, no spooky nighttime foresty thing. She's running through a trail in a suburb, and this thing jumps out of a tree with his bugged out red eyes. Like if a vampire was a Mothman, the way it looked. The description was given to Michael. At this point, Michael, you're on the phone, and Michael, I love you, dude, but you talk really fast. You talk very Irish. He's like, and at this point, then something jumped out of a tree, and it grabbed him, and it was like, and I lost my Lucky Charms, and I'm like, okay, dude.
I think that's just the Irish.
Yeah, his accent is. Well, you heard part of it when he was talking, because I was walking through the house, and he was just like, "What was that in the back of that? Hit you, piggy?" I'm like, oh yeah, that's my pig. And he's like, good times, good times. Anyway, like I said. It was like the guy from the Hot Wheels commercial, the guy used to talk real fast. Micro machines.
Yeah.
That guy. He was like Blur from the Transformers.
I think it was a Matchbox.
Everywhere I looked, Decepticons. So he was talking really fast, but he was trying to get out what he needed to say. Oh, you heard this story on Tony Merkel? Did they already do this one? Great. Simpsons did it. Like every time you do one, The Simpsons already did it. What does that say? Oh, I heard that story on Tony Merkel that was Friday. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, anyway, you probably heard. Well, pretend like you didn't hear it, okay? Let's unhear it, okay? And just pretend like you didn't hear it. Pretend like this the first time. Rewind your brain. I am a boy. My pronouns are him and haw.
My
Him haul
pronouns are
around.
he, yeah.
Yeah. Booyah. Booyah. What is the other one? Hoorah. Like the scent of a woman? Hoorah. I'm blind, but I can smell you. I can smell that sweat under your arms. Hoorah. It's like a creepy old dude in that movie. Al Pacino. So I tell you what. So what happens is this guy, he says that there's this weird thing going on. They believe now that there was something else. And so what Michael asked this former detective, now turned to PI, for something to do. And he says, let me ask you a question. He's like, do you believe in vampires? And the answer from a former police officer, detective, whatever, he says, yes, I do now. He's like, when I heard you guys giving the story, everybody who was there that had this stuff, whatever, he goes, I knew immediately we were dealing with something very similar. He goes, and to me, for my money, there's no doubt that some of these people are protected. So I'm going to tell you what I think. What I think is that these people, they do these things, that the ones that do these things, that they get in positions of power, and they're bolstered by their satanic dark arts, the black magic is what they're doing. And then it's really crazy. They end up infiltrating to the highest levels of whatever. I mean, it's crazy. And whether or not they themselves are a blood drinker or a shapeshifter, they end up knowing people who are, or they're friends with them, and somehow or another, they're always protected. So have you ever stopped to think why we are so conditioned and so prone to knee-jerk react? Get this, folks, 200 years ago when people would talk about, and that 200 years ago, you think about it, right? The 1820s. Every Native American on this continent believed in shape-shifting. Vampires, people that drink blood, did these kind of things. And do you realize how many vampire killer kits there are out there running around in existence?
It was a real profession.
It was a real profession. Mm-hmm. Somebody messaged me the other day, and they said, and I'm going to tell you right now, Oxnard, that's the name you go by. I'm assuming that's from California, whatever. Let me tell you something. I get what you're saying, but I'm going to address you directly. I'm going to tell you, I don't personally I don't believe that. I don't believe that. He says that dentists, they would hide as dentists. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that. I don't know. I just did something. But he said that the Tartarian flood, the mud flood theory, right? Here we go again. With it wiped out all of that information. But that they had to use, the vampire hunters were a guild, which they were. And they worked for different parts of the government that would actually try to stop the subverting of their government from these shadow governments. Because each government of every country on this planet, according to this guy, they were fighting. And this is, I'm going to say it because this is an interesting theory. It's not mine, but Oxnard gave me this, it's his handle, whatever. And so what he said that every country on this planet, first world country, has been at war with the shadow governments. So there's a regular government and a shadow government, and the shadow government is filled with reptilians, you name it, shapeshifters like werewolves and vampires. And that they all go to a type of church. They go together, something that's in between like a Catholic church or an Orthodox church, something, like that, mixed with, get this, sort of a Pentecost mosque type thing. Sometimes they're more like a synagogue. And he says that they do that, but it's mixed with like a business model. Crazy. He said they have that's what their churches are like. He's like, it's crazy. What they go to these places, and it's kind of like that and Masonic all mixed together. And it's businesses conducted there amongst each other, and they talk about murder like it's nothing. So I asked Oxnard. I emailed him back. I said, "Hey man, how do you know this?" He says, "Because my dad was one of them." He's like, "You were talking on one of your shows about the black cube. And I can tell you that's a very real thing." He's like, "My dad left a journal. And he's like, and he told me things. My grandparents had told me, and I was led to believe that they were lying to me to get me to stay away from him, that he was a bad guy. My mom's parents." But what Oxnard said, some of the things that I don't believe, like I don't believe that all dentists were before the Tartarian flood, okay, were running around pulling teeth and they were either vampires or vampire hunters or something like that. I mean, you had some things that I didn't agree with, but you had some other interesting theories, and it's food for thought, and you guys can tell me what you think. Because what he said was that some of these beings, they just look human. They're just completely and wholly, completely 100% been taken over. Their body isn't even real. It's like a shape-shifted body. And they lust after sex, and they want drugs and booze, and they want to do all these bad things because it's the demon in control. But that's what he said. But then he also made it a point, though. He said that these beings, they go to the human part of them, go to this where they can meet together, they can get together, and they can talk shop. He said in his dad, in his journal, when he read it, he realized that his grandparents, when he went to go meet his dad and really get to know his dad, he goes, "I was 17 years old and I had no clue." He goes, "I stayed 2 weeks with him one summer." He said, "And I realized what he was." He said there was black magic artifacts all over his house that he had tried to hide in different places. Then he found out that he was steeped into this temple. This was up in the West Coast, up near Vancouver, Washington. And he said that one of the things that he learned about his dad, too, was that his dad was actually one of these children that was born from one of these cults. His dad was not from Washington. He was from New York, upstate New York, Adirondack area. And he said that what he had done was his mother had joined this cult and moved to New York City. So his mother or whatever, they went to go look to find him. And whenever he was born, like he was born into this. This is his dad. And so what ended up happening, his grandfather, his dad's dad, was quite upset. That the mom had taken off with this child, absconded, and then had the baby basically cursed. But to her, it was like a blessing, because this group that she had fallen in with that was keeping her hidden from him was telling this, they were telling her, thank you for that donation, we appreciate it, telling her that, this baby's going to be born special, he's going to have all these abilities, and he was. But his soul was corrupted. It was evil. He was dark. And what they do is, they called it switching, like, if the baby is far enough along, they will knock the soul out of that baby and install it with a dark soul. This is what this cult believes. This is what they were. I'm not going to say the name of the cult because they're still in existence, and I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with them. Okay, it's called the Order of something. I'm not going to say it. But what they do is they call it soul switching. They do a ceremony, and if this person, the mother, accepts it, right? Now, if there is a guy that's they're within so much, like however, I don't know how much it's supposed to be. It's weird. They have to be living within so many miles of one another or something like that. So she left to get away from him so he couldn't interfere with the child being turned over to the devil, is what ultimately would had happened. So get what I'm saying here. So what ended up happening, this baby his dad ends up being not perfectly possessed, but switched out with a soul that's born beyond redemption. Like I talked about. I was correct about that. At least that's what this guy says. Soul born beyond redemption, basically like it's come back and it's just evil. There's nothing you can do. You're not going to change it. He says, my dad was this complete sociopath. Says it in his writings. His journal was filled with demonic imagery and how he didn't feel like other people. He didn't understand other people. It's a very strange thing that they talk about. Dick Richards says they describe soul switching in the Old Testament. I don't know. I mean, depends which Old Testament you read. There's a bunch of them. So what ends up happening is that this guy who messaged me about this, right? He said, I find out that my dad could shapeshift and that he was a murderer. And he took great pleasure in lying and conning people. He goes, I couldn't believe the things he was into. His grandfather was a good guy, and that he mysteriously drowned. He goes, my grandmother was a total black-hearted witch who literally babysat me and nearly killed me, tried to dunk my head in hot water. That was even more wicked than my dad. My dad actually saved me from her. And then one day she just didn't wake up. And it's tragic. She sleptwalked out of a second-story window.
Jeez.
Sorry. That's what you told me. This is what you told me, Oxnard. I'm just going by what you said.
Sympathy for her.
I was kind of joking around, but it's, whatever, suffer not a bitch to live. She's going to be like that. But the thing is, these are evil, evil people. What kind of woman, literally? Aleph, come on now. Come on. You're making assumptions now. There's other orders. There's orders of other angles. Don't have to be 9 necessarily. If you don't master your anger, your anger becomes your master?
9 shall be the number, and the number shall be 9.
Not necessarily.
Not 7, not 8, not 10, but 9 and 9 alone.
Along with the breakfast cereals and the delicious fruit bats. But, here's the thing. This woman did this horrible thing and then brought upon this earth this abomination of a man who did all this nightmarish things. He said, I think in some way he did have feelings for me. It's like we knew each other from somewhere else. I said, well, that's possible. He goes, well, I don't believe in reincarnation. I said, you don't have to. I'll do it for you.
It's not going to change if you do it.
It's not going to change whether you did or not. Whether you believe it or not, it don't really matter. It's like, you can think what you want about God. It don't really matter what you think.
Yes.
No matter what I think. It matters what is. So what ends up happening, he has this whole like past or whatever. So he gives me all this information about these people and what they do and says that this is what's, stop eating candy or sweets. I don't eat candy or sweets. I'm eating a coffee. These are lozenges from Germany. I don't think they're serving bugs over there yet, are they? But so what ends up happening, they have this whole coming to Jesus moment where his dad just comes out and flat out tells him, that if he wouldn't have gotten away from him, he was going to indoctrinate him into this cult. He told him. He said, you belong with us. Like Darth Vader, your place is with me. Once again, with the Vader. And Luke's like, no, I will never work a job in fast food. It's gross. I won't work. I'm not going to bag groceries. No. I'm a Zoomer. I don't do that. No. That was an exaggeration. You remember that, though, right? His little claw hand, his hand was gone. Vader was like, I cut off your hand, bitch. What are you going to do now? That's just how I remember it. I don't know if that's really correct. Like I was smoking a lot of Killa back then. But yeah, so what ends up happening, this guy, he says, he's like, you were going to become one of us. And then he tells him, he corners me. He's walking around the house, and I'm a kid. I'm walking away from him, and he's like, you could have had all this power. You could have done this. You could have done that. He goes, there are people in our group who are in politics, who run things. You have anything you want. Any kind of car, house, anything you desire. If you just stop resisting. He said, and my dad's eyes flashed yellow, slid it up. And he was like, I'm done, man. He goes, I ran out into the cold. He's like, and then my dad appeared right before me instantly. Like teleportation or something. Dragon Paul, I agree with that. He's like, right before I die, I be cursing the law. Reincarnating worse than before. Blowing up your planet, Alderaan. I think Vader would be a badass rapper, dude. Like if you read Stretch's lyrics on that song in Vader's voice.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a thug that's Imperial's born to brawl. Enough of that. All right. So anyway, so what ends up happening, his dad tells him basically, you could have been one of us. You were supposed to be with me, and your mother took you away from me. The B word that she is. And he's like, my mom raised me to be a Christian, to do what's right. He's like, it was poison to his ears. He didn't want to hear it. He was like, oh yeah, okay, Jesus, yeah. And he told him, he said, Jesus ain't gonna do nothing for you. I'm blah, blah, blah. And these people, they believe this crap. They believe they're going to win. They believe that if they keep worshiping these deities, Moloch and Baal, Baphomet, all these different beings that they're little, whatever, different ones, different names. But if you worship them hard enough, your gang wins, right? Your gang, you win. Your gang. Yeah. If you all band together and get on the same rowboat, bunch of dumb demons, and then you can fight God. They believe that. They literally believe that. Listen to Abe Finkelstein, a Luciferian, talk about how we're going to fight God. He says that. That's how stupid they are. That's when you get that look on your face. Huh? Like, hey, Arnold, or not Arnold, what's his name? The little mouse with the glasses. What's it called? It's on the internet. It's got to be true.
Oh, Arthur.
Arthur.
Oh.
Yeah.
You gotta get that, dun, dun, dun. Instead, it's dumb, 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 because nobody's gonna fight the creator of the universe. You can try. But they really believe this nonsense, right? And they think that because they have these little bit of abilities or whatever, that they can do all these, They believe this. They believe this nonsense.
They're like those. You ever been in the pool and like you're wading the water around with your hands? And it's like you're pretending that you have some sort of control over the water.
Yeah.
You feel like some sort of master elementalist. So no.
Doing like some Dragon Ball Z. Like when I was a kid.
Yeah, I would always do.
When I was a kid, I would do the Kamehameha.
Yeah, push the water out.
Yeah.
It was just for me, but yeah, that's what they're like. It's kind of sad.
God. You know why they do that? Because the only way, like, the only way people like that can obtain any kind of power is it's like if they I call it the magic pill mentality. Like they're like if I just take this combination of magic pills or do this combination of rituals and this and that. Well, if I just use my brain
avoid hard work
to do all this instead of doing the only thing that needs to be done, then I'll have power.
Yeah.
It's like
I can just skirt doing hard work any way I can.
It's like what? Okay. And they're always like out of shape, like either too scrawny or too fat, just like weak, physically. Like you could look at these people and just like snap them like a twig. If you sneeze in their direction, you risk like fracturing a bone. I'm sorry, and
they're always like,
and it's like, why can't they ever do some magic spell to cure their mental illness, or to cure their diabetes or their high blood pressure, or to lose weight, or to give themselves like more physical strength than that of a toddler? You know?
I mean, for all the blood they drink, they're pale, like.
I mean, like, can you do
freaky-looking people?
Not all of them.
Can you do
Can't eat all of it.
Can you do a spell that will make it to where, like, I can't just pop your head like a cherry tomato? Because that's what it looks like.
You're rather violent. Sometimes.
They just annoy me.
There's a store, but don't point. Walk inside. Case the joint. One man behind the counter, the other in the back. Come in through the front with a loaded gat. I'm just kidding, folks. I'm joking. I should have been a rapper. I mean, I don't know, or a heavy metal. I used to listen to like really hardcore metal and hardcore rap. So that probably did not help. That did not help with the retardation. That's what we have here. He's talking about vampires, the retardation.
A bit of the mental health, having troubles here.
What's his name? Nandor. Nandor, they're relentless. But one of the things that I it's a Cinco de Mayo, isn't it? Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. A bunch of people's birthdays. So what ended up happening with this story? I mean, to close that one out, that was it. I mean, he just Oxnard told me these things and said he'd be in touch, and so here I am telling you about it. Going back to these guys, going back to the Czechia, where these one of them is still a detective, and the other one is a retired detective from Prague, but he's working for this private investigation firm that the detective now works for, the Slovenian detective, who made friends with Paul and Michael. Well, Paul's Michael's brother, and they're both from Ireland. And Paul married this woman from Slovenia. There was a wedding, just to get you caught up. And so there was a murder that took place in the woods, and a man had taken his shirt off. And so the crazy thing about it was this detective was really interested in this, and so he started talking to him, to Michael, on a regular basis. And they became friends, and they even met and ate lunch in downtown London. I think he said it was like several months ago or something like that. And so he ended up telling him, he says he believes that, they're in all these major cities. They've infiltrated most of Europe. And he even said he would take it a step further. He was in Singapore. And he says, he goes, my son has gotten really involved in this, in the whole, because he does same thing he does. He's a, what do you call that, private investigator. Mm-hmm. And he said, so my son does international investigations, he looks into like cybercrime, things like that. But he said that there is a network, from Singapore all the way to Shanghai. And it's just, it's incredible that these people, they have control of the opium market and all this other thing, and they're gangsters, but they participate in blood drinking rituals. These people that are in power, that are in charge. People who are making content, like for your children to consume. Mm-hmm. Singapore is a crazy place. Two shadows, yes. So is Hong Kong. Unbelievable. And they have a capital in many different places. The four corners of the earth, their capitals. One of them used to be in Moscow, but it was destroyed completely by Putin. Somebody would say maybe Putin, he wanted to be, I'm the only vampire here. I've lived to be 100, not you. I got to kick this comedian's ass. It's over here, this little goofy comedian, on the bizarro world. Hunter's friend. This guy, he does a lot of the cocaine with the strippers and the hunter. I got to go and fight him. I must fight Russian bear. No, what's crazy is that these people, they do what they do, and they live all over the place, and these, and these, like, almost like they're untouchable. And it seems to be the way of the world. It's in Asia, it's in Africa, it's in South America, it's in Europe. Everywhere you go. Human beings being preyed upon by animals. Are they animal? What are they? What would you call them? I mean, that's what they're saying. Well, we know that. But they're saying that, the animal attacks.
Shape-shifting monsters.
Shape-shifting monsters that are either eating your flesh or drinking your blood or both.
Oh, actually, they're obviously just packs of dogs.
It's some wild dogs. That's what they say here in the States. I told Michael that. I said, yeah, every day we wake up to another dog attack. We're like, and then the human explosions. They just don't stop. I was at the 7-Eleven the other day buying some scratch off so I could get rich. It's my retirement plan. And I was in there and I was putting money into my retirement plan, scratching off some lotto tickets, hoping that I could, quit working. And guy just exploded. Boom, right there. Once again. It's horrible. Another woman was being mauled by dogs in the parking lot. Another guy was being eaten by a bear on the roof. It was that 7-Eleven was out of control. I don't know what's going on with this kid, but anyway. So it was nuts, right? Because it just happens all the time. It is all the time. People just
Yeah.
You're up in the tree, you just get yanked down by a pack of dingoes. Right there in downtown Oklahoma City. Just chew you up. Walking through Nashville. Chewed up. It's horrible. Dogs everywhere just acting a fool. They get liquored up and they just go crazy. We can't stop them anymore. We can stop people from exploding.
They're all hyped up on gas station stamina pills and pre-workout.
If people would stop eating so much Mexican food, they would quit blowing up. The bathroom. But that's the problem with this. It sounds ridiculous. It is utterly and just absolutely ridiculous. It is a stupidity. Like I said, it's the retardation. These people, they have it. They believe this crap. Oh, that's not what happened. That was a dog. It's this pack of dogs. It said so in the report right there. The computer said. Like the guy that checked me and Anthony out over at Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
It's $76 for 2 combos or 3 whatever it was. Are you sure? No, man, I'm not gonna argue with you like that. What the computer say? The computer say. Then he's like standing there falling asleep.
Mouth hanging open.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, his mouth,
Yeah.
like a robot on Ambien. The computer say. The computer say. Man, I get out and slap that computer and get it to work right. So what happens? We end up with this situation where our pets' heads are falling off. It's bad. It's bad because these people, they've infiltrated and they've done what they've done. And so now when you talk about it, you might as well talk about it because you've already opened that Pandora's box. You can't close it because they know that you know. And at any given time, you're a very talented podcaster. You're very handsome, muscular, beautiful skin. You take very good care of yourself. Your hair is nice and wavy, soft, and you got you look good anyway. You have beautiful jewelry, very beautiful. I'm just going to be honest. You're a very strikingly handsome man. Very good taste in jewelry. You show off your trophy, not bragging, 450 pounds. But, the pig was, was a big one, and I took him down with a toothpick that was taped to the end of a toothbrush. I shanked him 48 times behind some bullshit. All right, and when you're that kind of guy and you can talk and your words are just so good and you're one of the greatest authors ever, you just haven't reached your full potential yet. You have to understand something. It's like it's hard being you. You just want to give yourself a big hug. I love you some you. I love me some me. And so when you're that kind of guy, they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you, believe me. Guns blazing. Bam, bam. Blessings. I'm just saying. Oh, but enough about me. Look, the point is that these people, they know what you know. They know what I know, all joking aside. And so why I can't stop now. I can't. Can't stop. Won't stop. Not going to. That's all I'm going to give you, Puffy. Nothing else. You're a very bad guy. But, you know, my thing is, you know, I'm like, if you sit here and you actually swallow the baloney that they're giving you, how many dog attacks have gone on in the last few years? And I mean, like, I read something that was like 17 on average, 17 a year. I could be wrong about the numbers, but somebody had posted that. And of course, then again, it was in some group on Facebook. So and that's just somebody posted that. I don't know if that's correct. Please don't quote me on that because I didn't have time to go and cross-check it. I was busy. I was playing a game on there.
Oh, that makes every sense.
Yeah. It's really good. Bookworm. You ever played Bookworm?
No.
It's a word game. You should. You'll learn something. It'll learn you something, boy. Bookworm, folks. I was playing Bookworm. I didn't have time to read all that. I don't have time for all that research. Like the one guy, he says, Doug Grinninger. Doug, you're always commenting on your, because you hate me. You hate me so bad. Hold on one second, Doug. Let me take a drink. This is how much I care. So Doug always he says on the chat, he said the comment section, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You need to do your research on your history and just do that when people wait and fill in the chat and eating the Jello pudding pops and whatever. I don't do that research stuff. I'm not into reading. I don't care about that. I get all of my information from Goggle. Okay? I goggled you. Okay? I know who you are. Actually, I don't. You're just a guy that's always trash talking me. I really don't know who he is, honestly, folks. The artist formerly known as Wolf turned myself into a symbol. Like that little monkey that Chris Gaetano has, a little monkey with that symbol right there by itself. So what ends up happening, this guy tells me all this crazy stuff, and then he says that this detective had told him, he says, I absolutely believe that this is what's going on. And so that's what he got from him, but his son had gone on to say that there was this whole vampire cult in Singapore when he was there, working with a cybercrime thing. Exactly, Brett. Mickey G. How many of you fall? Well, you're the Messiah. I should know. I followed a few. What's it? You got any spare change for a former leper?
Oh, yeah.
There's an ex-leper.
Ex-leper? For an ex-leper, he's all bouncing around. Yeah. Life of Brian. Spare change for ex-leper. Did you say an ex-leper? You had the wife, you know. Incontinent buttocks. He kept slapping it. That dude, the gladiator, he's chasing the guy. Oh, cardiac arrest. He's falling over. And the dude walks around going,
Like when he's locked up in a dungeon.
Leave me alone. I've had a hard time. You've had a hard time? I've been spat in the face. Spat in the face? Whoa, I wouldn't give it to be spat in the face.
great guys, the Romans. What have the Romans ever done for us? What about the aqueducts? Well, besides the aqueducts, education. Well, besides education and the aqueducts. Well, they keep law and order, and somebody has to in this place. Yeah, but besides law and order, education, and the aqueducts, what have the Romans ever did for us? Language. And then started all these crazy things. They named big old long list. Besides these 243 things, what have they ever done for us? Bunch of crap heads. So I feel like at this point in time, what we're dealing with, and I'm being really serious here, folks. We got to break it up with some levity because this is brutal stuff. It's hard to swallow. And when I was listening to these people talk, in between a story of a haunting on a Maryland farm where a woman saw a goat man come up through the floor, okay, and then a guy from Indiana telling me about a scarecrow that would knock on his window at night, this is what I was dealing with. So when you are me, and Tony and Anthony can attest to this, they can tell you right now 100%. They hear me on the phone talking to people, giving them weird stories all the time. This is what I do. But you have to put it all together and be like, and dude, and not let it, you can't let it break your spirit. Because I personally, I know that these things exist and these things do happen. And that there is a part of our government that is committed to the shadow. It's like the Zoroastrians, Ahura Mazda, and Engamanyu. Engamanyu, of course, being the shadow, the antithesis of the light, which is the shadow. That's why I believe the black goo is the dark matter. It is the shadow. It is the opposite of God. All these other demons and these big, bad bully boys, they're not God. They're not the opposite of God. They couldn't even begin. Now, when you go around saying that God's like a human, he's got all these human characteristics, then yeah, you can compare those demons and say, yeah, oh, that's the opposite of God is the devil. God is so far beyond the devil, it's not even funny. God doesn't need to even make an appearance. Just the very name of his son, Jesus Christ, is enough to stop these beings. I'm convinced of this. And that if you have true faith, you could be protected. These people that were attacked, I don't know about their lives. I don't know who they are. I don't even know their names. I don't know if they were good people or bad people. I don't know anything about them. I could tell you this. They were somebody's son, daughter, possibly girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, somebody's sibling, grandchild, niece, nephew. They had friends, they had hopes and dreams, and something or someone took them from us. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe that this is dogs doing this. War Criminal, you took a report about a scarecrow. Yeah, this report came to me from another person who said that it was too silly to put on their show. So I said, I'll read it. I don't care. Then he said he was kicking himself. I said, yeah, you should have been. I mean, no offense to you, I'm not trying to be ugly or whatever, but that was a mistake on your part. That guy was very genuine about what happened to him. And his friend now corroborates his story. It's crazy. It's not dogs. No, it's not PG-63. No, it's not. Lori says, I never joined a cult until now. Well, folks, get that collection plate passed around and go ahead and just throw us a little bit of something there, preferably 20 and up. I don't mind the smaller donations, but, it's whatever. Get that collection plate passed around. Yeah. I need a toothpick. All right, get it in the back. Get in the back. Throw that money in there, and that makes you an official member of the Paranormal Roundtable Society organization. I'm trying to figure out which one sounds better. The PRTs, Paranormal Roundtable Society. To go on, start donating. And then you will become an official member then you can be a member of the cult.
Ladies and gentlemen, how can we help you if we don't have the means to? We need a home so that we can safely provide the help that you so desire.
God's house ain't free now, boys.
Amen.
God don't like ugly. We got to get haircuts. Look at Tony.
I got LASIK. God came down and
that boy uglier than all hell.
And gave him.
Ain't that boy uglier than all hell?
I would like that blessing as well. Blessings.
We got to get that boy beautified real quick. I can't stand looking at him.
He needs his Fingers done, his toes. It's almost swim season, and I haven't had a manicure or pedicure in ever.
Even more unforgivable is Banjo has not had a manicure or a pedicure.
Well, that's just a little dog. I don't think we need to be doing all that. That's frivolous spending now. Now, spinners on my mountain bike, that's different. Okay. Keep messing around, see what happens. You will go down. Okay. I'm just saying. You don't want to mess around. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Not donating is bad for your health. I'm waiting. I will continue when the donations pour in.
You see, it was the 11th commandment. Thou shalt always donate to PRT.
You need to stop with this crap. I'm telling you right now. Two Shadows, thank you. Here's my donation. I don't want to go to hell. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who does? Who does? Donate to the fund to keep the frogs straight.
Is it so much to ask for a little monetization? For saving your soul?
For saving your souls by taking your money. Flies around shit, bees around honey. Holy smoke. You ever heard that song? Holy smoke. Plenty bad preachers for the devil to stoke. Feed them in feet first. This is no joke. This is thirsty work. Making holy smoke. So here's what I'm going to tell you. We have this situation going on now. This guy, Michael, his girlfriend, she has a story to tell. Her brother was hiking through the woods in the Highlands of Scotland. In Scotland. Now, they talk a little different. It's crazy. It's like, oh, he understand what he's saying. So, they were in Scotland. Him and his best friend, they went hiking. And what they saw in the woods was something that they'll never forget. One of these Scottish cows, have you ever seen some of the Scottish Highland cows? They have that big shaggy fur and have the big blockhead.
Yeah.
Really big, large animal, and it was being drugged by the mouth by an animal that was walking backwards on all fours. When they approached it on the trail, well, it was like a gravel road, dirt road, whatever. It stopped and it looked at them. It dropped the animal. Thank you for that donation, Amy Creel and Straight Frogs. Linda Webb says, best damn cult I ever joined. Thank you, PRT, all you do. We're going to try hard, folks, to make these. We're going to send the frogs to a camp. This is a project we are really working.
Sending them to a re-education camp.
They're going to be re-educated to be straight.
Yeah.
We got many
We
plans.
need them to breed.
year.
These froggies aren't breeding. The bees are not breeding. They're all males. There's something wrong with that. That needs to change. Can't have just a colony full of dudes. That's prison right there. That's prison. That prison rules. That's why the bees are dying, because of the prison rules. They're scared to go out in the yard. They're going to get shanked. You know, word on the yard, the fool was a snitch, shanked 10 times behind some bullshit, right? That's right. The rumor was that he was gay. He kind of hurt me inside that they were glad he died. Iced tea. Delicious iced tea. Devil Cothra, I don't care what they're saying as long as they look like Sean Connery in a kill. Yeah. Look, boy. I think Liam Neeson's probably my favorite Scottish dude.
Yeah, he's cool.
I got a special set of skills. And what I'm going to do is find your werewolf ass, and I'm going to beat it to death with the rear legs of a naked dogman. You watch what I do to you. It's on and popping now, bitch. You got to sound like you have something, like you just ate some oatmeal and you haven't swallowed. That's how. And then if you take it a step further, then it's Sean Connery. And that's, so, special set of skills. Remember that. In the Scottish Highlands. So, spilling tea. Sorry for the chuckle house today, folks. I just wanted to cut loose. I wanted to cut loose, hang loose for a while. You know what I mean? Just, you know.
Liam Neeson is Irish.
Is he?
Yeah.
He sounds Scottish. And I thought he was Scottish.
I don't know. They said he's
I
Irish.
never
Who
did
said
in the
he's
first
Irish?
place.
What people in the chat?
Richards, Paul Katrosas.
Paul don't know what he's talking about. Liam, he said he called him Liam Neeson. His name isn't Liam. The joke's on you, Paul. His name is Liam. All right, ain't even Liam. All right, you know what you're talking about, man. You know what? You're banned from the cult. You're done, sir. You are out of there. You are out of here. You are out.
We're gonna leave you behind.
You're gonna be left. You're the child left behind. And no child left behind. Ever gonna be no children left behind.
Leon is the Irish spelling. Well, at least it's America, and we speak American.
We speak American here. You dumbass. You see the American flag on my G.I. Joe shirt?
We spell in American here, too.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you're doing, what you're talking about. You need to shut up.
We write in red, white, and blue.
I'll take swords for $100, Alex. Somebody posted that. What was that at? That's words. It was Amy Creel. I'll take swords for $100. That's words. Oh, don't make me look up on you. So they're walking through this, like in the Highlands. They're hitchhiking or backpacking. Him and his buddy, and so they see this thing dragging something. But the thing is, it let go of what it was chewing on, and it put its hands up on top of the carcass and sat up. And it was like looking around side to side. It had that really weird kind of short muzzle. You know, there was somebody that posted a picture. And when they give me the description of it, get this, I'm going to show you this. This is from Todd Tate. Thank you, Todd, for posting this in one of the groups that I stalk people in. Because I am a stalker. But you know what? People in wheelchairs are the real heroes. Not stalkers like me. Just so you know. Now my enemies are going to be like, boy, he done lost his ever cotton picking mind. His cotton mind, he's out of it. He's done, man. He's done. Put her in charge. This is what Todd Tate posted. Well, and I'll give you that. These are the different Dogman things. Here, let me see if I can roll it over a little bit. You see that one right there? That first one? That's kind of how they described it. If you go over, then you have that smaller, kind of skinny, lurky one or whatever, and then you have this big, hulking beast one, which that middle one is the one I saw. And really, there's all these different types because they're chimeric, folks. You know that they make these, right? You know that, right? Mm-hmm. You hear a door. Sounds like, then you hear Leatherface. And he comes out, you know. Acting like a pig, like Deliverance meets, you know, Evil Dead.
Now that we have truffles, it's crazy how close he actually sounded. Mm-hmm. It's like he got it spot on.
Well, I think Tobe actually used a pig.
Yeah.
Sounds.
Oh, it wasn't him?
Yes.
Oh.
Read Garetano's book. Okay. South Texas Blues. Stop talking if you haven't read it. Shut up. Just shut your mouth. Just shut. Shut. Stop. He's been like this all day, ever since he took that
melting
the marijuana.
Limp, worthless noodle.
Marijuana can make this happen to you too.
Yes,
One marijuana can
Just
cause-
one, yeah. He injected one marijuana.
One marijuana stick did this to my child. He refuses to do anything but play Warcraft. What is it now? What's the new one? Fortnite? No, that's kids, right?
No.
What is it? Legion? What's it called? Legion? Legolas?
League of Legends.
Sorry, League of Legends. My bad. This is what happens when you smoke one marijuana stick. You die. That's it. The reefer bud resembles a cockroach. That's why they call it a roach. Ooh, let's stop talking about all this crap. Jeez Louise, man, I'm sitting here trying to
Talk about that funky broccoli.
The death stick death. Yes, exactly. Fallout 4, Robert, me too. I don't even talk about it no more because I can't. It's just wrong and stupid and dumb, and I got quit. Got an addiction to playing video games a long time ago and I almost killed myself. Lack of sleep, and I had to drive to the store to get some munchies because I had been, but it almost killed me. That was it. I was done with video games. I swore them off. I haven't played video games in 22 hours. I'm joking. I haven't played video games in a long time. Anyway, this chart right here, you see the different kinds? That's a very interesting take on it because everything is just kind of in between. But that first one, if you look at that first one on that picture, that's kind of what they described to me. And I'm just going to tell you, that's what it looked like. And when it leaned up on this carcass, they said that when it put its body up on it to try to this is crazy, man. But they said, her brother said when they put its hands on the carcass to kind of defend its turf, kind of puffing itself up to be bigger than it was, already huge. It was way bigger than this cow. That they saw the cow's ribs and everything just compress and just go down, flatten out. And everything, it was partly, chewed on, but it was bad. It just crushed this thing flat. This creature meant business. It was they said it had blood all over its face, and it was chewing away. And it had a piece of meat on it in its hand. It was just eating it. And so these guys witnessed this, and they turned and they ran. And they ran so far away. So they had to get away. So what ended up happening, this girl that Michael's with, she's telling this story to him, and she was kind of talking, but I said, look, you need to talk. She talks. I can't do both. So he's trying to tell me the story. She's got a really thick accent. Hers is not as thick. And so she started talking, and she was a lot easier to understand. Mike's got a real thick accent. She was like, it went but a few stones from them, Josh. I'm like, in English? Yeah. Well, I believe you guys use the imperial system. It's the feet. And I'm like, yes. Well, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, well, give me the yards. So they were about 30 yards from this thing. So if you can imagine, you're walking through Scottish Highlands, which consequently is where Dog Soldiers took place. This happened in 2012. That happened to him. And him and his friends see this thing. And it's got this big, Highland cow. And it's eating it. And this thing looked like it was very menacing, like it wanted to do something to them. And probably would have if they would have kept walking and got any closer to it. So they turned and they ran. They didn't run at first. They did something smart. They walked, they backed up like it was a bear, but they turned and then they ran. And so they lived to tell the tale. And I wonder how many times people come across these things that guess what? They're not eating something. So you're on the menu. And another thing, too, these beings, they basically take over your thoughts, your mind, whatever, because if you're weak and you're not in Christ, this is my belief, they can do the things they do to you. What these human-like beings can do to you is not unlike a hypnotism. And then you're just defenseless. You don't do anything. You just let them tear you apart. Because some of these cases, they're saying that these people didn't even fight back. They didn't struggle. There was no signs of a struggle. Either that or these things killed them quick like that. Boom. So when you start to look into these cases and you start to go, these things, and I keep saying this, could be multiple things happening here. You could have this Dogman creature, which I'm convinced if there's a species like that, it's not just roaming around the woods. No, I'm sorry. Nope, wrong answer. They come from within the earth. They live down there to avoid detection, to avoid, humans in general, to avoid taxes, whatever, the rain. They come up to feed. Simple as that. Oh, there's things to eat down there too. It's a big ecosystem. But I'm going to say this, another thing too, that people, you need to understand something. Bigfoot is the same way. And then they're like, this guy is crazy. Crazy like a fox. Fox Mulder from the X-Files. Seriously, what these people have gone through is horrific. It's terrible. And you don't know how much I hear of this stuff and how much we get all the time of this stuff. If it was one person, let me tell you like this. If one person gave me a story and it was just so hard to believe and unbelievable, and I just put it on the shelf, that would be something I would just never go back to it. But then another person gives you another story. They've never even heard that person's story. They've never even heard that person's story or even met that person. And it's very similar. And it happens again and again and again. But you know what, folks? You've been being lied to. I'm going to tell you this. You've been being lied to by all these other people. Not all of them. I'm not like saying every podcaster out there, whatever, because there's a lot of good ones that are doing good work. But there's a lot of fraud-ass dudes out there that what they're doing is they're only giving you part of the story, which to me is the same as telling a lie, because you're not telling people the whole truth. You need to tell people every facet of what's going on. Why cherry pick little parts out of the story and just putting it onto your channels or your podcasts when you're not going to give the whole thing? Now, what you're seeing now, and you're welcome. Okay. You're welcome, bruh. Because we started talking about all of it. We were a one-stop shop, and we still are full spectrum, pure, unadulterated, uncut, organic stories, Holmes. Straight from the source, ese. Don't you know I'm loco? And no, I'm not taking hits from the bone. What I'm telling you is that we started this. Everybody was doing their own thing, having their own niche. And that's what my enemies are saying, too. They're like, why couldn't you just stay in your lane? Yeah. They need the rattles. They need the little baby rattles. Why? Everything was great. We were grifting off of the community and everything. Big Wolf ruins everything. Oh, he makes me mad. They're so mad. Like an angry hive of retardation bees. Because what you're doing and what you're saying is pissing them off because, A, they didn't think of it first. What a novel idea. Somebody comes to you and says, I got a bunch of weird stories. How can I fuck this up? Any, mini, money, mo. Let's throw all that out and just do this one on the show. That's what you did. Excuse my language. And then I said, hey, what about we not get spat in the face? How about that? What if we don't kiss the Roman's ass and get spat in the face? What? What is wrong with you? Why would you not want to get spat in the face? What is something is wrong with this man? You're like the guy who had the invisible creatures on the hands. What did he call them? The Germans? The germs. Yeah, the germs. They were all over the hands and we had to wash or we wouldn't get the plague. And look, everybody's fine. They look at Carl. They cut to Carl. He's got no arm, leprosy. I'm doing great, sir. It was just an eye and an arm. God has seen fit to bless me with another eye and arm. Exactly, Carl. Anyway, the point is, what is wrong? Have you running a high fever? Are you mad? The shame. What is wrong with this man? Tell the whole story. Who would do this? I'm going to call the babysitter. Obviously, you think you're a big boy now. Then babysit yourself. Yes, Mrs. Pennyapple? This is Mrs. Pennyapple? Yes, we have a man here running a high fever. Can you send the ambulance and come here and babysit him? Yes, I can do that. I'll be right there. Thank you, Mrs. Pennyapple. Pennyapple out. Now, we will sit tight, and I will read my invisible newspaper until you go to the nut house. The hell is wrong with you? Dogman and werewolves? These are separate things. What are you talking about? Insane this man is.
What a nonsense, my dear boy.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's a guy, he comes on his show, he's called Paranormal Roundtable. What he does, he takes us, I'm going to tell you a story about this Dogman, this werewolves kind of things, kind of changes into like a wolf-like creature. I won't bore you with the details of how it becomes what it does, but it eats your ass, basically. And he talks about it on his show. And mate, he's got something wrong. He's mental. He's plain mental. That's all I can say about this guy. I mean, someone should probably go up, just kick his arse, because that's what he needs. I'll go kick in the arse, and then he'll stop talking about all this crazy shit. I think we should call my boy Liam. Liam, yes. Can you use your special skills, mate? I got this guy over here. We should talk about dogmen, werewolves, and vampires. He's telling the whole thing. He's just talking. He's got a big mouth, a big fat pudgy face. Although he's kind of attractive in a weird way. Not that I'm that way, but he's a good-looking guy. I'm just saying. But if you could come and use your special set of skills and despise this individual, because he goes stop talking like this, making us all look bad. Like I'm doing a show. And my show's strictly about Dogman, and this guy's talking about orbs and UFOs and other types of shit. This is crazy, this shit he's saying. Got to shut him down, mate. I'll be right there with my special set of skills. Just hang tight. I'm going to stop at Wendy's first and get a Baconator. Okay, you enjoy your Baconator, mate, but don't forget, Colombian necktie for this guy. All right, goodbye. Then the guy comes, grabs me from behind. He's like, "Nah, I'm going to kill you." And I'm like, "What? Are you Colombian?" "Yes, I'm the Colombian necktie." Why? Is that a problem? I was hoping for it to be more cinematic. Like Liam Neeson or somebody killing me. I didn't know. No, you die from me. Ha ha ha. Dogman, whisper that. And now I get my revenge on you. On you. Because Dogman, it's a physical thing, a physical flesh and blood creature that you turn into some kind of goofy monkey thing that run around, shrieking, eating people, and then going to become a man. You pissed me off with this bullshit, and now you're gonna pay. Do they say in Colombia? I don't think they do. Now you will be going down. You thought you were rid of me. Evolution, Dogman forever! The end. And scene. Jim Bob said they definitely smoked a joint. No, we did not. I'm not stoned. I'm just very tired. But I can say this.
Painted yourself a whole world there.
People think that I'm the crazy one. And as you can clearly see over the last 3 hours, I have proven my sanity. If you don't see how sane I am, then something is really wrong with you. I've spent the last 3 hours trying to convince you that I am a normal person.
Gaslight.
I am a good man.
I am a good man. People say I do good things. I am into good things to do.
You may call me Betty.
Betty. But, when somebody tells you enough times that something is black, it's black. Somebody tells you enough times something is white, it's white. That's what it is. Somebody said, Opsy is the cottonmouth. Come on. Spilling tea. I'm not cottonmouthing. I'm just really thirsty. I'm not allowed to be thirsty, punk. You feel lucky? Do you? No, I just believe that these things are what they are. I don't think that they're all flesh and blood, but I don't think that they're all metaphysical. I think they're all metaphysical, but I don't think that they're all spiritual or all physical. I think they could be both. And the way that they are both is something that we can't comprehend. Why is there so much activity around these things, Bigfoot and Dogman? People have hauntings around these things. People see reptilians at these computer places at the same time that they see these Dogman creatures. Why is that? So we're supposed to believe that these things are it's just by coincidence? Because if you, as a researcher, and you're taking yourself seriously as a researcher, and you're taking a story, and all you're doing is getting one part of the story, which is just the Dogman part right there, that's it. And that's all they have to tell you, then that's fine. But you should push to find out the rest of it, whether it's a Bigfoot or Dogman story. And most of the time, these people, they have a lot more than just a Bigfoot encounter. Most of them have ghost stories, and they have UFO encounters with them. The guy from Scotland with the vampire thing from Poland, he was telling me all kinds of stories. I got to go back and finish up with him. But this other lady, you know, her brother, they lived in Ireland. They went to Scotland to visit a friend. His friend was in Scotland. They went to the Highlands and went hiking. Saw this creature eating some cattle. These aren't make-believe. These people are seeing these things. And of course, he was intrigued and she was intrigued. So she told her boyfriend, Michael, that you guys saw something in the woods in Slovenia. Talk to that police officer and get more information. And so he did. And that's what we came up with. Or he came up with, I'm sorry. But or kind of we came up with it. That's where we're at right now, basically, what I'm trying to say. But that's what he came up with, and that's what we're coming up with right now. The rest of the story. The bottom line is this. Every day. Well, I wouldn't say every. Would it be every day? Probably every day, wouldn't it be? Mm-hmm. Every day of our lives, we're getting stories of some kind. I think maybe in this year so far, we're in what, May? Mm-hmm. There's only been 3, maybe 4 days. I was telling you this the other day, Tony, where it was weird. I was like, I didn't get any stories today, remember? Mm-hmm. That was like a few weeks ago. And a lot of people send us Dogman stories. Now, I'm not going to lie. I used to stalk around in those groups and better believe anybody was in there saying something about Dogman, I was trying to get those stories. I still do. But I don't need to go, and you don't see me as much in the groups as I used to be. You don't see me lurking around in there pulling stories from people because I don't have to. People are just coming to us now and telling us because we are almost at 35,000, folks. See how close we are. 34,984, which sucks because we were at 34,987 when the show started. So 3 people either said this guy sucks and they unsubscribed, or it's what's happening to everybody. They're unsubscribing people.
You know what it was? It was 3 devils. Them devils got scared away by a good man during the first half of the show. Mm-hmm. A preacher, a man of God.
He threw a Bible at him and part of his skin melted because he's so evil. So that's what we're dealing with. I mean, when you stop and you take a look at these cases and you stop and you look, seriously take a hard look at these stories, you know what happened, folks, and I'm going to tell you my theory on this, was we're years behind on this research because we were too busy, and I was one of them in the beginning, too busy looking for a physical specimen of a Dogman. We were too busy believing that this thing had to be some sort of physical being. We were too busy believing that werewolves were a comical Hollywood thing, and then it was ridiculous, and that they didn't exist. Now, you got to look back at my show 5 years ago. Me and these guys have been doing it for 5 years on this show. It wasn't until very, very recent that we really started saying, hey, this could be what we're dealing with. And it was over the last year or two, maybe, I guess. Because we were not pushing the idea really hard, because we were like, we just sort of circumstantial, just on the fringes, you know what I mean? Well, it's all circumstantial, but you know what I'm saying? It's like very on the fringes. Like we didn't have enough information about it. And then the floodgates opened, and oh boy, have they opened. Because now people are coming to us and saying, hey, this could be what we're dealing with. I have a werewolf encounter. I have a vampire encounter. They're now calling it what it is. A reptilian encounter with these beings, these things. Hey, Abe, what's going on? Like Abe would call them. Disembodied demonic Nephilim, because that's what they are. He comes on late at night. Guys, check out his show, man. You got to really check it out. He has some good stories, man, some good stuff. He's doing good work, man. He's just got to get better at YouTubing. Sorry, Tony, I didn't mean to kick you. Get out the way, boy. Get out the way. But when you stop and you just take it all in, put yourself in mine, Tony and Anthony's position, and to a lesser degree, my brother, Scorpion, Nelly, everybody who's involved in the show, all the stories we get. And then somebody comes along and says, I don't believe Dogman exists. I don't give a F what you believe. It doesn't matter what you believe or I believe. Really, it's what is. I don't have a choice but to believe because I saw it. I saw it, Holmes. Who are you trying to get crazy with? I said, don't you know I'm Lobo? Literally, I got Lobo tattooed on my chest. Yeah. And now, here we are. Yep, disembodied demonic Nephilim. And I think that it's going to speed up. This quickening that's happening, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and we're getting more and more stories. Now, some would say that's because there are more and more people seeing these things. I personally don't want to push the panic button. I think it's because we're just growing, we're getting bigger. And plus, you have to realize something. I've always had access to other groups and their stories, and I've made deals with a lot of different tubers and podcasters and authors, and we share information and stories. They'll let me tell a story, and I'll, as long as I give them with credit, sometimes I forget. I know, I'm sorry. I don't always, But, yeah, that's how I get a hold of a lot of these people. And there's no shortage of people out there. Hell, we were at the movie theater, and a guy was telling us, it was just like the other day. Our waiter over in Taylor, he saw that pale crawler thing, whatever. It keeps happening. Every day we get stories, almost every day. Sometimes it'll be slow. You might only get like one or two. And then some days, like last Wednesday, this past Wednesday, I got 7 stories in one day. That was crazy. But then Friday I had 2. Thursday I only had 2. So sometimes it's not, and a lot, you got to realize not all of them are show worthy. And I'm sorry if some people, if you send a story and you think it's show worthy, I'm not being rude or mean or ugly or whatever, but they can't all be winners. You know what I mean? I can't put them all on the show. I wish I could. If this was my full-time job, I could sit here and just tell stories 5 hours a day, all day because a lot of people are coming to us now because other people weren't taking them seriously and still aren't. And then they want to be mad and angry and go crazy on us because, well, the bottom line is, you suck. You're not doing your job. Oh, this is a job to you, huh? Oh, this is a job to you. You think this is a job? Yeah. If you're going to do this, make it a job. Make it something you care about. Make it a job that you love. And they get completely butthurt and pissed off if you guys donate money. They don't like that. Post the PayPal account link or whatever, Anthony. So if somebody wants to donate, that they can put it on there. That would be a better way to do it anyway. Just send it to the PayPal thing or whatever. That way we don't have to deal with the haters, because when they see what you guys get, they get mad. And they just get really mad. And they're like, why not me? You know why not you? Because you're not doing what needs to be done. Tell the truth of what you know. Throw the cards out there. Stop playing around. Give them everything that you know, because you know what? These people, they know a lot more than they're letting on, because it doesn't fit their stupid narrative. They're not going to tell you. In the last month, I'll say the month of April, I interviewed over at least half a dozen people who have told us that they gave their stories to other podcasters and YouTubers, and you know what they did? They told part of it or none of it. Your own choice, your own deal, because you're going to get left behind because we did everything the way we were supposed to do it, and you didn't. And so now you're mad. Why are you mad? They're mad like the president's dog. The dog has bit 24 people. It looks like a freaking hellhound. Look at its eyes. What's his name? Commander?
Yeah, Commander.
Yeah, Cat Williams talking about this dog has bit 13 people. No, it's bit 24. Sorry about that, Cat. You got it wrong. Dog has bit a lot of people. And there are people who have claimed a lot of weird stuff about different people who've been in the Oval Office, seeing weird things. This demonic cat that they see on Capitol Hill. You know about that? The demonic cat? The black cat?
Yeah. See it around election time.
They see it around election time, and they said when it makes its appearance whenever there's going to be a really bad president. Well, it did it this past time. And people said they see it moving around behind him and his entourage. Jim Bob says, you would be surprised how many people want to talk but are scared of ridicule. Great channel, boys. So, yeah, I'll be your voice. If you have a story to tell and you don't feel like you can tell it, I have a special set of skills. And I will use those skills to tell your story and absolutely destroy the paradigm. The competition won't know it hit it. Countdown to extinction. And other types of foreboding things. Something dark side. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. Today we just kind of cut loose, and I gave you a lot of information, things to chew on, no pun intended, because that's what they're doing, is chewing on us. Take a look for yourself. Listen when people tell you something, instead of having this preconceived notion of what Dogman is or what it's supposed to be. Oh, well, that's not a Dogman because it doesn't have a tail. And you don't know. The Dogman's like, oh, wait, I do have a tail. I have one. This is a good one. It's about Robin Hood. Told from the Dogman's perspective. There was once a Dogman who wanted to help people and then eat them. The end. That's my tale. Literally, these things do what they do, and people are being whatever, and nobody's talking about it because it's too fantastical. Just like the fallen arches serving up people. It sounds too fantastical to be real. Yet there are newspaper articles that back it up over and over and over again. And everybody continues to just enjoy eating there and doing what they do. All of these places, I would stop eating fast food burgers immediately if I were you. The nature of our reality is not what you think it is or what you thought it was. And I'm going to destroy that paradigm for you if you watch long enough. I'm sorry, that's what's going to happen. We will be on Rumble on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And for those of you who think it's just about aliens or whatever, that's not what it's about. That's part of it. It ties into it. But that is the pivotal show on Saturdays that brings it all together. That's where you're going to learn. You're going to learn. You're going to learn today, boy. Think I'm playing. Go fetch me that belt. That's what my dad used to tell me. You're going to learn today. I try to go in there and get the little skinny belt, and he'd be like, oh, okay, good. This'll I didn't understand more
hurts even
pounds
more.
per. Yeah, I didn't get the more pounds per square inch. My dad being an electrical engineer, he understood those things. He goes, "Psh, this is gonna hurt worse. Should have got the bigger one, dummy, dumbass, about to be a red ass." And sometimes I deserved it, man. Of course, I think he went overboard. But sometimes you gotta beat it into people. You're gonna learn today. Because I'm gonna say things. I'm just gonna throw it out there. And it'll be like this fun time is fun, right? Yeah, right. But we're gonna talk about some real things. All right, buster suckers, but this time you're dealing with some real mother uffers. Please don't step to these real mother uffer. Jeez. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed the skits, the rapping, and the laughing, and the joking, and the Slayer song, and the singing, and the dancing, and the shaking of the tuchus. I hope you enjoyed it all. We've had a great time. We've had a really fun time. It's been awesome. It's been the best. I enjoy it. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing up and being part of what makes PRT strong. No, you are what makes PRT strong. We're just part of it. You're the main. You're the backbone. You're my base. You're everything. I love you all. Jim Bob. Debbie Cawthra. Who am I missing here? Let me go over here and read everybody. Linda Webb, Smurfy, Spilling Tea, of course. Was Sugar Britches here today?
I don't remember seeing her.
She's not feeling good or something. We need to pray for her.
Yeah, she was here earlier.
Yeah. Maddie's in there. Lolo. I see Werewolf. I see Werewolf lurking around. I see you on the first piece. Werewolf, I read that on the show last night about where it says, let us make man in our image, and I read it from like 7 different types of Bible. So you can go back and read that. That's an interesting comment. Mitchell Best says, do you think the Godzilla King Kong movies are using the Inner Earth and Titans to prepare us? Yeah. Soft disclosure? Isn't all of that just soft disclosure? That's what it is, right?
Yeah. That's what a lot of science fiction is.
That's all it is. And science, you can't even make movies about fiction no more because reality is way more weirder than fiction, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, just forget it. That's what's happening. Please hit the like button, like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody who donated. We appreciate it. We know times are tough, and thank you for choosing to fly with Total Bastard Airlines, where we treat people the way we believe is right. You're going to learn today. Pretty ridiculous table. Predictive programming. Yeah, exactly. So everybody who's here, thank you. And once again, all right, so what do we got coming up this coming week? What are we going to talk about? We got a couple different things. We got the City of Night. I've interviewed several people about the City of Night. We have Evil Elves of the Inner Earth. And then there was another one I wanted to talk about. There was another story. Oh, The Horrors of Petra, Part 2, where we go deeper with Agnes, and she revealed to me what followed her back, which was pretty horrific. And then we have Carlos's tale, which is, I'm finally done getting his information. I got to put it all together, though. You got to be patient. The guy's got partial missing of a jaw, so he can't really talk very well. And his caretaker / daughter and niece basically take care of him. And so we got all of this coming up. So who knows what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about. It's going to be real. All right, we're going to bring that out like on Wednesday. It'll be like the hour before Barton's show, or Thursday maybe before I go on with Blunts and Booze. Tuesday, what do you guys want? You want an hour-long show, or do you want me to do a normal live stream for Tuesday? Because we're not going to give up on Tuesday. Tuesdays has been our staple for as long as we've been.
Let's see if I can get a poll going.
Let's get a poll going.
Poll, okay. Oh yeah, I'm good. You guys want a poll? Okay. You want a poll? I'm good. Drugs are bad. Okay, don't do drugs, because if you did drugs, you'd be bad.
You know, drugs, they do crazy things.
That's Tony's Christopher Walken impersonation.
See a lot of people saying live.
They want a live. Says you sounded like Napoleon Dynamite. What? Gosh, I don't care like about how many stupid Prussians you killed.
The crap on my face.
Well, get the crap out of my face. Nacho Libre. Sometimes a man has to wear stretchy pants. You know, my father was Sicilian. He was a world champion liar. That was Christopher Walken, and he was talking to Dennis Hopper in True Romance. This guy. Yeah.
Well, I was in theater, so like I did that. What is that? The one where he's talking to that kid,
Yeah.
and he's like in the army or whatever. The kid's dad died.
And he goes, "See, so your father had this. So I had this watch up
in
my ass."
Yeah. I had to do that monologue in theater, so I learned the voice.
Oh my god! The kid's looking at him like, "What the hell?" It was Pulp Fiction, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another person I met. I met Tarantino years ago. He hung out after hours and drank at the club. So, what are we doing here? I'm not on the.
Oh, the poll.
No, I'm not on the stream. Where am I?
What?
do you mean? Like I can't see what's going on.
Oh.
Let's see if I can get back on there. There it is. We got woo.
Let there be light.
Bright light.
Looks like people
You owe
really.
me $6,000. Okay. Sounds
Well,
like
you
Foghorn
owe us
Leghorn.
$7,000.
Foghorn Leghorn says, "You know," I say, boy, I say, you know. That's hilarious. I say, you know what do you say? You know, this guy, you know, the Anunnaki, you know, just he believes that he worships them. He believes that they made us, and they're just some, you know, there's some little ridiculous. Show for Tuesday, live stream or a podcast episode. So it's not giving me the results of anything.
It's 90-10. It's pretty definitive.
I don't see it though. It's not showing me anything.
No, I'm just.
Oh, there it is. Why
Yeah.
when you do that it shows up?
It's just a software.
Okay, all right. So that was weird. So we're gonna do a live stream on Tuesday then.
If that's not what you wanted, you didn't vote for it.
And Magua will show you the way. I thought British policy made the world England, sir. An arrogant thing to say. One must bargain and reason with these colonials to get them to do anything.
The time is what?
What time is the stream on Tuesday? Okay, so BMR starts his show at like, I think, is it 8 or 9? No, he starts at 8, right? 8.
I think so.
Spilling T says, be sleep deprived again. Yeah, I'm very sleep deprived. The last 2 days I haven't slept for crap and I worked out really hard.
But I mean, you got the packages done.
See this though? See what you can do when you see kids? You go work out. This is what happens. You go like that. You go like that. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing?
You want to talk
What
to
are you
the left, Jess?
doing? Yeah. You like the Jews, huh? You like the Jews, huh? You like the Jews. The strength and the muscles. You like that? And bigger than your hair. My arm is bigger than your hair. I take your little hair like this, and I go, and it pop like a pecan. Going, boop. They flick off of me like nothing. That's it. Jamie Brenton says 444 watching. I'm going to pump you up. Yeah, that's right. Steampunk. Remember that? Hans and Franz, hear me now and believe me later, little girl, man. Yeah. This isn't just toilet paper stuffed inside of like big jackets. What was it? Pullovers, hoodies, or what are they wearing? Like those sweaters?
Yeah.
What do you get information on human meat at Fast Food Wolf? Oh man. So Andrew, man, let's talk about it on Rumble on Saturday, folks. Go to Rumble on Saturday and bring up questions that you know that I can't really answer on YouTube. All right, so let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's save it for the Rumble. All right. Rumble is actually one of my favorite.
What time for Rumble?
On Saturday?
I think that's what people have been asking.
8 o'clock. When you come to Decepticon turf, what does he say? When you come to Decepticon turf, prepare to tumble. Watch out, robot, because here comes Rumble. He was like Macho Man as a robot, dude. Remember?
Yeah.
How he would talk, he had that voice, and he would do that little, he was badass, dude. Like, I think Rumble and the tapes, Ravage, Laserbeak, they were the coolest, and Soundwave. And then the Dinobots were like my favorite Autobots. I couldn't get into like cars and like just, except Optimus. Optimus was badass. Everybody loved Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He was the shit. The other Autobots were like, we're not really fighters, we're lovers. Like, what is this? What are you doing? Are you from Corinth?
I'm an ambulance.
We're the Thebans. Yeah, I'm an ambulance. Ratchet. Like, and then on the movie, the Michael Bay bots, they made like Bumblebee into this like badass fighter guy. I want to kick you in your balls, Michael. You destroyed. It was good though. The movies were good to a degree, but then you just went off the rails with the shit. You had 200 and something Transformers to choose from, and what do? You go make up your own shit. Gangster bots or ghetto bots or whatever the hell they were. And hatchlings dying. Dude, somebody needs to slap you so far upside your face. I'm Michael Bay. I'm going to blow some shit up, man. Kaboom, kaboom, pow, pow, kaboom. Bam! There's your kaboom. Well, fuck with my childhood, Michael. Huh? All right? You piece of shit.
You are meddling in forces.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to take a clip of that. And they're gonna make a collage.
Yeah.
But you know what it's gonna do?
They're gonna say you're losing it.
They're gonna say you're losing it. But you know what it's gonna do, folks? It's gonna generate views because they're gonna be like, "Who is this guy? I want to go check this guy out. Watch him lose it."
Everybody's gonna want to see how crazy you are.
And let me see. I'm gonna shave my head like Britney Spears, and then I'm gonna do the other guy. I'll do it right now. Leave him alone. Leave Britney alone. And then Josh Turner alone too. I love him. He's crazy, but I love him. And my pronouns are he, she, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. Your pronouns are great. You're doing great. Your haircut is awesome. We love the hair. Leave the hair. Let's use it in a satanic ceremony. Okay, leave the hair so they can use it. That's what the Democrats are going to do with your hair. They're going to use it. They're going to use it to put a curse on you. Okay, that's the mistake you're making, Brittany. Okay, I would do it. I would totally shave my head. I would. I'm not lying. I would. Joe can't shave his head. If he did, the mask would come off. He's a lizard. Have you seen this guy? He's a lizard person, folks. I'm telling you, you better vote for me because this guy, something's wrong with him. He's falling up the stairs and he's pooping his pants in front of the White House lawn and at the Vatican. He took a deuce in his pants. It was in his pants. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And then the other guy. It was my dog, and he's a and bit him. Oh, well, clearly he won the debate, folks. Let's make no bones about that. This guy is on it. He is on it. He was like, I don't think so, Trump. Oh, he was like screaming at him, like he was screaming on that ass. And Orange Man was just flailing wildly. He was doing real bad. His guard was down. And Biden was just, like a rock'em sock'em robot. with his words. He's so eloquent. It's like Shakespeare meets Plato. And not the kind you play with when you're a kid and you try to eat it and it tastes kind of salty. No, we're talking about Plato. Plato. Like as in Atlantis drowned and shit. That's him. I watched the whole debate. It was amazing. Biden came out and did all kinds of stuff. Trump, not so much. Was not happy with him. They told me what his plans were, to ship back all the Mexicans to Africa. Horrible guy, he's racist. That right there is some racist shit. Let me act like I know the name of this. Girl Steiner. Delicious. Come on now, guys. Go make videos. Go make videos. Take this out of context. Make clips and let's move them around. Let's do some things. Make some things happen. And let's make me more famous. Never happy. Never satisfied with you. He worries about the numbers. Like they say. He probably smokes weed and everything. Thank you, guys.
Drugs and alcohol have ruined my life.
Drugs and alcohol have ruined my life. What do you say? We all know you could take the A train. Go talk to a guy named Perez. Get you a $20. I'll write it down. Like, oh, dude. Yeah. Dave Chappelle. The alphabet people. Yep. I don't know where you're headed, but I know I really want to be in this car. We're going to get more creepy with that. Can we do that? Can we get more creepy with that? Well, okay, folks. Anyways, I got to go. It's been real. It's been fun. We had a great time. We just cracked up. And, yeah, Robert, exactly. I was waiting for that Loch Ness Monster to show. What is 350? 350. All right, dude. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. We're back. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be back doing whatever we do on Tuesday. We'll do it and drop it like it's hot. But show up and bring your ducats. Be ready to spend some money, man. Okay? All right? Tired of this shit. I need to be driving a Maserati once I fit in one. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit eating like a lot, and then I will demand from my listeners, my cult, give me a Maserati. That's another soundbite they can use. Here he is demanding a highly expensive sports car from his audience. Just losing. He's crazy. He's out of his damn mind.
Look, all you got to do is send us enough money so that we can demand Maserati to make a plus-size car.
You got to buy two of them. Put them together. There's a wolf-sized Maserati for you, folks. Pew, pew, pew. We got you, man. We got you. All right, folks. All right, thank you, and good night.